up, and welcome back to the Section 10 Podcast, episode 519, presented by Underdog Fantasy. It is the home of your soon-to-be 2025 World Series champion Boston Red Sox. My name is Jared Carabas, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Coley Mick, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Tyler Milliken, and he killed his dog Bullet, and you can't teach that. Bada boom. Realest guys in the room. Steve, how you doing?
Ooh, what up, Section 10 in the building?
In the motherfucking building. Presented by Blue Moon.
Suck one.
Produced by Jake Yazzie.
Fuck yeah.
Merry Christmas, Jake.
You too,
Merry
Jared.
Christmas to you.
Thank
and
you.
Your family. And your family. I said it to Jake. I didn't say it to you. Actually, no.
Excuse me?
Sent you. I sent you a nice text yesterday. Did I not? The
You did.
fuck? Yeah,
Asking
I did.
how my day was, how the family was. I really did appreciate
and
that.
I said I loved you yesterday.
You did say that. I almost got a little uncomfortable. It's not because I don't want to hear it, but I have a hard time with mail.
My love makes you
No.
uncomfortable?
I'm not used to male affection, so when I get it, it takes a little bit for me to kind of process it and not,
He's
This
so
is-
used
this
to
is the
female
second-
affection, just not male
Yeah,
affection.
That's what I be doing. What's
He
good,
gets-
Martha?
Shout out to Martha. Merry Christmas, Martha.
Merry Christmas, Martha.
What'd you
Merry
get?
Christmas.
What'd you get Martha for Christmas?
She hasn't got it yet because I haven't seen her.
How have you not seen your own girlfriend on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Christmas as a whole, well, actually the Christmas holiday at this
Hell
point
of a
in time.
As a
We
As a whole is a great book.
we usually celebrate the day after Christmas together, so that will be today.
What? You didn't answer my question.
I think that's
why
fine.
didn't you
He's doing
see
family
her-
stuff, right? You're doing
Family.
family
We
stuff.
both have like very big family stuff.
Yeah,
that's
but don't
fine.
you
Be
like
there.
split it up? Like, go a little bit here, a little bit there, make a couple stops.
Our two sides have yet to find the middle ground of giving up time to the other
Oh,
side.
so your families don't like each other.
No,
T,
they're actually
I back
very
T.
big
I
fans.
get what T's saying. Like, the family's got Christmas traditions. They're doing
Traditions,
that, and then you
no one
have
wants to break it.
Yeah,
We're also
that's
farther
fine.
now. I'm in Wareham, so it's a little bit more of a back and forth if we're kind
Yeah,
of
you're
running
good,
one way
T.
and going the
You're
other.
good, T.
Yeah.
Coming soon, future years.
Bet
Okay.
you are.
She gonna wake
Yeah.
up next to me.
All right, so you can't say what you got her because you haven't given it to her yet.
No, but she's gonna love it.
Oh,
I'm a
Yeah.
great gift giver. It's like one of my talents.
Tyler's one of the, he's probably doing the dick in the box thing. He's like, oh no, she
Yeah,
gonna,
she's gonna love
she gonna love this
Yeah.
thing. He spent $0 on this.
In the gingerbread house.
it's just an oil painting of tea. It's whatever the picture he was gonna send to Passon if Soto came to the Red Sox. He just got it as an oil painting. Like, babe, check this out. This is everything you ever wanted.
She'd
She'd
be
get
all over
lonely
it.
at night. Oh, she would love it. Yeah, Martha would love it. Merry Christmas to Martha. Cole, did you have a good Christmas?
No,
Why?
everyone's sick.
Oh yeah, I mean, Tyler.
I just overcame illness. Actually, I got sick again right after the last podcast. So I was sick twice in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I think I'm dying.
Yeah.
I think the relay of sickness in my house has been going on since August. There hasn't been someone not sick in this house. Like, we haven't had 4 not sick people since the summertime. It's just sick to pass on to sick to pass on to sick. Steve?
We've talked about this before with you, Jared, of what the Red Sox would do if you died. We actually, when we interviewed Sam Kennedy at Winter Weekend, that was probably half the interview. I loved that part of it. If Tyler died, would the Red Sox, I think something might, I don't think they'd do anything. I don't think they'd do it like in terms of on the field.
Not
I think
yet.
someone would acknowledge Tyler dying.
Coley?
Bobby Dahlback 1-day contract.
Yeah, to come back just to be like, honestly, fuck that guy.
Five for five of the farthest hit home runs you've ever seen in your life.
I think Tyler's done enough in this space that someone would acknowledge it in the Sox. Like I don't know if it's on the team, but in the organization, someone would acknowledge you.
Do I get a
dying,
brick?
Tyler.
Maybe a brick?
No, it takes a lot to get a brick. I don't think you
too
get
much.
A brick. Yeah, that's probably too much.
I think like,
Jared would force them to acknowledge me.
It would be weird if they did nothing. If they like Tyler's really come on strong here the last couple of years. It would be a little odd if no one from the organization acknowledged that he died. And you're 26. How old are you, Tyler?
26.
All right, so that's really young to go.
Tragic. Yeah.
But
what is it? A heart attack? What are we calling it? What's
if I go out in a really bad way, like a negative way.
Yeah,
if diabetes. I don't know if they're saying anything, but I think you need a heart attack, and then you might get.
Why would heart attack be better?
Well, because it's tragic. It's like, oh, it happened so fast, and
I
know it's in the same category.
Learn how this kid eats.
No, I know.
It's the same as diabetes.
No, I want to get hit by a car outside the ballpark. If someone could do it, or if I had to go out away.
Well, then they would get
never
sued. And,
anywhere
you'd be in the middle of a lawsuit.
Yeah. No, Coley brings up a good point. You're never at Fenway, so that's not going to happen. But
they'd be like, "Who?" Then we'd show him a picture, be like, "Never seen that guy.
Never seen him. There's no way this guy's ever been here."
No. I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I feel like you've got like a better shot at like the Woo Sox sending out a tweet.
And they have great photos from
first pitch. Yeah. Be like. I don't know what they would say, but I could see like the Woo Sox. That would be it. Like it would be like a social media acknowledgement.
Okay,
I would take that, or in between innings, like a little montage of me or something like that.
You're not getting a montage.
No.
We're not getting a video. T, come on, T.
Because he threw out the first pitch for the Red Sox and the Woo Sox, they would probably use those photos with like a tweet. But they wouldn't tag him because they would be like, fuck you. Who cares about your following now? You died.
And there's a chance that they would only do it because they have the photos. They're like, all right, well, we have a ton of photos of this guy. We gotta post these, get something out of it.
The response would be bad too underneath. Like, I don't think you're getting a ton of support. Like, thank you for posting this. It's like, who the fuck is this guy?
You'd be getting cooked in the replies.
But that's fitting. T getting cooked. He's just always cooked. So I think that'd be good. Good way to go.
Yeah. Jake, they'd build a fucking statue. They would bring back like the old days of Yankee Stadium where the statues were on the field. Like they would just plop a Jake statue right in like the triangle in center field. You just got to play around it. That's different. But a couple social media posts from the Woo Sox and the Red Sox, I think.
Let's try it out,
That's pretty cool though. That's something, right?
Sure, when my family's grieving and Martha's a widow and unsure of what's next in her life, I'm sure that would give her the comfort.
Martha hearing that would be like, "Oh, I'd be a widow. Where's my ring, bitch?" That's what she would say.
Did she text you before this podcast? Are you trying to cook me?
I'm just saying. Listen, I'm Team Martha in that relationship for sure.
I'm the problem.
Back to Jake real quick. I would love to know what the drink water statement would be if Jake died. Because he'd have something cooked up. It's like, this was supposed to be the next guy. He was the chosen one. He was everything I wanted in that behind the plate guy. So that would be obviously tragic. Of course, John Henry would say something. You'd have a statement from Warner. Yeah, Jake would get the video. He'd get the montage.
Yeah.
Drinkwater leaving Jake's funeral the second the casket gets lowered.
It'd be the perfect tribute.
They crank it exactly once. He's out. He's in the car.
And he'd be in the front row too, obviously. So he'd be right there and boom, just get up like, what's that? No, let him. That's what he does. Let him go. Yeah. That's his thing.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about that, Jake? You think that's like not enough?
No, if Drinkwater dips from my funeral immediately, I feel like that is all I needed to accomplish in life.
Yeah. Like the cops, they get the 20 or troops get the 21 gun salute. If Drinkwater has to leave 21 times, he's out of breath. He's just constantly doing
come
laps.
Back. All right, shut it. I gotta go again. Come on, shut that casket.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be good. Well, it wouldn't be good because I don't want anyone here to die. But
no, especially not.
Appreciate
Jake.
you. Whoa,
yeah,
Steve.
What?
You said especially not Jake.
I mean, he's the producer of the show. Like, the show can't go on without the producer.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, T, we did did do this show without you before.
Good take. But you're saying like if someone had to
wildly
die,
popular, by the way,
extremely, but like
it's a huge deal.
Like I would say, you in this space couldn't get more successful than when you weren't here. It's awesome now. It's awesome. No, T. I'm just saying, like those years of like 18 to 21 should have been there. Those are fun times, man.
I was getting an education.
Yeah, I mean, like you're living it now, right?
Life's great.
Life's great.
Never been happier.
Yeah. I mean, me neither. I mean, I feel like, we're the best we've ever been right now with you.
Thank you.
But those years without you, man.
But that stretch without you, though, really impressive. Yeah. The live shows, the team was great. I mean, with T, the team hasn't been great.
That Brian Bayo Instagram picture, you think that was cool? You should have been in the Section 10 days back then.
Should have been at the live shows.
God damn. Yeah. The parade.
Yep. Yeah, let's keep it moving. I think we've probably talked enough.
Steve, it's not like you weren't there. Like you were there.
I was there. Yeah, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I was there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're at Baseball Tavern after?
That part was fun. I'll always remember that.
Oh man, great time.
I don't think you'll remember it, but I will remember it.
No. But listen, the world is a better place with UT. Mm-hmm. The podcast is a better place with UT. I may have just been saying that last part. I don't know. I mean,
once again, very mean way not to finish what you were saying.
You didn't let me finish what I was saying.
You called on me, so it's my turn. It's my turn.
You interrupted me. Because
I knew you were going to say some dumb shit. That's why. So let me continue.
Yeah. Ooh.
Hey, it's Christmas.
It's not Christmas anymore. It's the furthest it possibly could be from Christmas.
Yep. 364
25
away.
to 31 is Christmas.
No, it's not Christmas anymore. We've absolutely moved on from Christmas. But what I will say, what I was going to say, is I don't look at the numbers. So like, is it better? I don't know. It's not really for me to say.
Kind of feels similar, right? It's a feel thing.
It's a feel.
Did we ever even look at numbers? I don't even know if we ever looked at numbers.
Never
I don't think Barstool let us look at numbers.
No, they didn't.
It's definitely a feel thing, and it's certainly a different show, but in a good way too. You've added a lot.
Steve?
Obviously, Jake too.
Steve,
Jerry.
So here's the thing, right? We need a winning season. If the Red Sox have a winning season in 2025, then it'll once again feel like, man, this is something special that we're experiencing right now. And pretty much ever since I've been podcasting with T, never had a winning season.
And might I
not
add,
a one.
Winning season is great, but hey, how about this, boys? And each week that goes by, I believe this even more. Potentially winning the division.
That's a little crazy, I think.
It's not too crazy. It's not too crazy. It's not too crazy.
Find that right-handed bat. And
you're not that far from potentially winning the AL East. That's all I'm going to say.
I think we're pretty far.
Not that far. I don't think. What was 94 wins won the AL East with Soto last year?
They could potentially be better than they were last year. I'm just going to say it.
I don't.
I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it.
An easy take. This take that, like, I think most of the money Cashman spent has been to the leading baseball voices to try and pretend like they've improved in any way.
If you combine all their war, it's almost Juan Soto's war. Come on. It only took us paying 5 other players and taking 5 other roster spots.
I mean,
but it works.
It's crazy. They're much worse.
Listen, man. I'm just saying, the Red Sox, like, let's just make the fucking playoffs. Maybe the Red Sox could win the division, but I just feel like it's such a strong leap from, like, losing record last place, 500 third place, division. I don't know.
That's kind of how they do it, though. The third place is the anomaly. They don't do the third place thing really ever. That was weird.
2010.
Yeah, like that's not really usually what they do. They're either last place or they're in the World Series. Like they don't very hot and cold. So yeah, I don't think it's crazy. It really has nothing to do with what we've done, though. It has more to do with the Yankees are just much worse.
Yeah. The goal should be the division. You got to try to get the division, and your offseason moves should be aimed at winning the AL East. So far, Yeah, to Coley's point, it's been more the what the Yankees lost versus obviously getting Crochet and adding some pieces. But you got to still have that mentality of trying to win the AL East, and then we can kind of fall back on the playoffs. I don't want the playoffs just to be the goal for what we've been through recently.
You guys want Alex Bregman on the team?
100%.
To play what?
Yeah, I'm into the second base idea.
No.
You're out on it, Coley.
Objectively stupid idea.
Continue.
He's over the age of 30. We're asking him to move off of his gold glove third base to play second base, where he's absolutely going to get taken out of the knees trying to turn a double play. And he's old and hasn't done that in a while, so it might even be his fault. Terrible way to use that money. Just an awful. If he was here to play third, all in. All in. We have a second baseman. We have a second baseman who might be better at second base and offense right now in Christian Campbell than Alex Bregman. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. He's never even done it. I don't think it's that insane.
I don't
Top
think
five prospect in baseball. And that's who we're going to block and try and move to left to then block Roman Anthony in left. We're creating more problems than solutions. Just put Devers at DH if you want to sign Bregman. Putting him at second.
You can't do that right now. You have Masataka Yoshida sitting here on the books.
Who cares?
You're not going to just bench him.
Bake that into the Bregman deal. Break that $15 million into what you think you're paying him if you really want to go that route.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, like have
money's
just
spent
counted as part of what you're spending on Bregman.
Yeah,
I get that. I mean, that puts you over the tax. See, my concern with the Bregman contract, because I think we're all pretty much on the same page that we would want him on the Red Sox, is that would probably put you over the threshold, right? Like that's where dealing Yoshida, I feel like, opens some of that payroll. Why wouldn't any team want Yoshida? This has been a big discussion on the Twitter machine of like, oh, well, who's going to take Yoshida?
Defense, and he's not an elite enough hitter.
But like half of his, I know he's only played for 2 years in the majors, but basically half of that, he's one of the best OBP guys in the game. Like there's value to Masataka Yoshida. I don't quite understand why a team. Obviously, you're going to have to eat some of the contract. But I'm saying if the difference between bringing on Bregman and being over the luxury tax is like a small gap, that can just be trading Masataka Yoshida and having somebody eat that difference. If that's what they want to do, if they want to stay under it, but them telling us they want to be over the tax, then actually commit to being over the tax. My concern is if it's very close to where that line is, they'd want to be under it instead.
Yeah. I think that's where they're going to be. I think they're going to end up right underneath it, and they'll put themselves in a position where you get to the trade deadline, and then they'll make a decision depending on how the team performed. If they perform well, yeah, they're probably willing to push over. If not, they sneak under, especially if they disappoint. But you talk Yoshida, yeah, there's a lot of things he offers when we have the Bregman and the Arenado conversation. K percentage, whiff percentage, especially if you even went and got a guy like Teoscar, right? But I think where things get a little weird right now is it's clear there's at least one more trade that needs to happen here. Like if you're going to fit Roman Anthony and Christian Campbell on this roster, we're also talking Marcelo Meyer more likely than not in the next year too now. Like you need to make a couple different moves here to free up this roster so that it makes sense, because right now you are doing something weird.
No, good point. See, I have a question for you. What's the difference? Like, what's the gap right now between us and the first luxury tax threshold? Is it 24 million?
It's a little under 27. It's like 26.
Okay. And what is Bregman going to get per year? Probably around
exactly
there?
right around there.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's less years, it's probably a little bit more.
Who are you asking, Jared?
I'm asking everybody. And there are some gaps in belief of what's really going on. But it is the greatest time of the year again. Football's back.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It just came back. Yep.
Just came back. And thank God it's here, because the Patriots are playing games.
The Chargers. Yep.
They're playing the Chargers. Yeah. On Sunday.
Saturday. Yeah.
As all NFL teams do, play on Saturday. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. Went up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats like touchdowns, passing yards, and more. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head on over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Jared. That's Jared, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jared, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Yeah, the Bregman situation is a little confusing to me. It's a confusing process, as we've said in the past. Because the details are different depending on who you ask. What's he got? Has he got offers in hand? How much money? How many years? From who? Who's interested? Who's calling? Who's yet to even make a fucking offer? Who could it be? Who among us would be showing significant interest without even making a fucking offer? I don't know. That's not a question for me to ask. No. Coley?
One part that's frustrating about what Tyler said, and I understand, it's not like your opinion. It's how I know the Red Sox are operating. Them talking about the trade deadline, and we'll make more decisions then. Do it now. This is why Teoscar is still a free agent, because you were too big of fucking cowards to sign him last year. When now he's a year older, and he's going to cost the same amount that you didn't want to give him last year, and he has the qualifying offer attached. So you're also punting a pick. None of what they're talking about, after Kennedy said all that shit, the night Chris Sale was named Cy Young, he was like, we're going to blow past the luxury. Like,
he did not say that.
I still love how Coley has pitched this. I love that he's stuck with it.
I'm not trying to give Sam Kennedy any room, but I feel like it's dangerous when you start like just painting it one way when he didn't say it like that.
He came out and said the luxury tax was not a hurdle for us. We'd be comfortable going over it. That's what he said.
Right. If need be, we'll go over. Yep.
After saying we don't talk about the luxury, we don't talk about our finances, he picked that night to say that, and you can already feel them, just like last year, walking it back. You can already feel them doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far right now. I think right now you sign Teoscar.
What tells you that it's going in a different direction, T?
Well, you end up signing Teoscar or Alex Bregman the entire conversation.
What makes you so?
But that's hypothetical, though.
That's okay. So we're still those guys are on the board. I'm not going to start sitting there and saying you're screwed until you're screwed.
Coley.
I'm not saying they're screwed. I think they have perfectly fine options at home, but it goes against what they said. But my question, Tyler, how would step one in your expertise to signing a free agent would be what?
Making an offer would help you, yes.
Interesting. Okay.
And listen, I'd throw the money at Corbin Burnes right now, and I wouldn't even think twice. I think that would be the most logical move. I would not, throw that money at a position player first. But they do need to balance the lineup here. And I think if you end up signing, say they do hand out that offer to Teoscar or Bregman, and it brings you up to the first CBT threshold, is anyone complaining about the Red Sox offseason? I think at that point you're saying, well, they got the top of the rotation arm, you got the mid-rotation arm, you got, the right-handed bat to kind of balance everything out. You didn't trade Triston Casas. You found a way to hold on to him, right? So it's not like, you traded a young piece in order to land that top of the rotation starter from the big league roster. You didn't take away from last year's team and what you built on. I still would like a reliever in there, more likely than not. But yeah, I think you end up signing one of those guys, or if you traded for, say, a Suzuki, whoever, and you're saying, yeah, that was a pretty damn good offseason.
Yeah, my biggest concern right now is that, and Coley's alluding to it here, when you look at where that luxury tax line is, and them saying that it's not a problem, that it's not a concern, I do think they have that number all over the front office. I think that number is in all of their minds, and they're approaching and have seemingly approached this offseason with that number in mind, considering what they've already done. That's why I don't think Corbin Burnes is coming here. I mean, there's technically still a chance, but I got it at like 1%. If you're going to have it between
what
Burnes
would they do if they signed? Like, I know
I
it's
don't
like,
even know where they'd move the pieces.
Who would we bump out of the rotation? It's like, all right, you're adding an ace, like you'll figure it out. But I mean, at this point, you already could say you have like 7 starters. Like,
but that's where the Cutter Crawford trade stuff comes in, or you plug him into the bullpen and he's your 7th inning arm that you really like.
But just based on how this offseason's already gone, I'd be very surprised if that luxury tax number isn't what they're guiding light. Like, I do believe that's now what they're focused on the most, which is super unfortunate considering how the offseason started.
So, like, just to not to dash your hopes and dreams, T. But let's just say hypothetically, right? Let's just say the Red Sox haven't even made Bregman an offer, and it's just been like hypothetically. Let's call it parameter talk. Let's just say it's kind of been like, what'll it take, and blah 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 blah. With Teoscar Hernandez, let's just say hypothetically speaking, let's just say hypothetically, right?
You're just throwing shit out there. That's all you're doing.
I'm just like, we're just talking like it's an exercise. It's an exercise to see like
it's a
how
wazi,
would
yeah.
how would you react if we told you X, Y, and Z, right? So let's just say in the Bregman situation, no offers even been made, and it's just been kind of like, oh, what'll it take? And beep 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 beep. And with Teoscar, what if I said like that hasn't even happened?
If you're not
even talking parameters.
Yeah, if you're not landing an impact right-handed bat here, there's a problem, without a doubt. You need to spend money here, use your financial muscle, you use your trade assets. You should be able to do both. That's what smart teams do. But that would be a problem. If you don't come away with one of those two, or you have a pathway that gets you that right-handed bat, it's a problem. You took Tyler O'Neill out of this lineup, who, say what you will, I know he struck out 33% of the time last year. That was your best hitter against lefties overall, and he balanced that lineup overall. So how are you going to kind of piece it? Is it going to be Randall Grichuk? If it's Randall Grichuk, you're running the Renfroe Duvall plan back once again and just kind of saying, all right, like,
that was Tyler O'Neill plan.
Yeah, but I would look at least at Tyler O'Neill, and I think he's a better ball player than Randall Grichuk.
Well, sure. I don't think anyone's arguing that. But that's kind of what they do when they need a right-handed bat.
Yeah,
but you brought up Casas. I don't view that as something like super celebratory. Even if I like the player, I know you like the player. You look at baseball league-wide, first basemen who have accomplished more than Triston Casas and aren't that much older are going for like leverage 8th inning, 7th inning arms. There's no value to first baseman right now. I think the Red Sox absolutely called the Pirates, offered Triston Casas and a package around him before Jared Jones, and the Pirates were like, if we played any other position, maybe. But
it costs more. Marcelo Meyer needs to be in that deal, and then I think you're figuring out the Willie Abreu's and the Triston Casases of the world. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I also think it's fair to say when you're talking middle of the order lineup and you don't have that right-handed bat, I think he's your second best hitter on this team. You take him out of the middle of the order. That's a significant question mark to me. And if you believe he's going to be one of the more premium hitters in baseball, I do think that's something you celebrate. Because if we were going to sit here and say, man, I'd kill myself if they traded Triston Casas for Brian Wu. That was a statement from we had, 3 months ago or whatever it may be. Yeah, I do think there's something to believing in that talent. And if you think he's a middle of the order bat, I'm happy he's here. I want him.
But here. I'm not saying that as me. I'm saying that as how they're viewing it. Like, they're not thrilled Casas hasn't been traded.
Yeah, I think they looked at it was like, if we get what we want, great. If we don't, we're good. I think that's kind of always been it with Triston Casas, at least this offseason.
The way that it sits with me, having lived through the Chaim Bloom era, is not a lot of their actions behind the scenes got out publicly, whereas it seems like a lot of the Red Sox activity, we know every time Alex Spear writes a column or whomever puts out like a news and notes, like we kind of get the inner workings of things that may not happen. Usually, like with Chaim, it's like, yeah, we would find stuff out, but it was after it was done. It's like, all right, yeah, like they did this, and this, but it's all come to light publicly. But recently, I mean, the Casas stuff, I'm not saying that there's intent behind it. Like, what purpose would that serve for the Red Sox to leak that they want to trade Casas and then go out there and be faced with the reality that, hey, no one values Casas like we do. Like, clearly we the Red Sox see him as someone that could be a 40 home run first baseman, but then we go and shop him around for pitching and other teams are like, what makes you think that? Like, he hasn't done that. We don't see it the same way. What we've seen is a lot of injuries and missing baseball games. That's what we've seen. So I don't know. I think going back, I think it was Spear that said it, like, who's going to be the third baseman and the first baseman on opening day? This was like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And he was like, yeah, I think it's going to be Casas at first and Devers at third. And reading between the lines here, I still think it's going to be that way. I think that the Bregman situation is what it is. I don't think it's impossible. I'm not looking at the Bregman situation and being like, there's no way. Like, Teoscar Hernandez, like, I'm not out on it. Like, I'd love to have him here, but that one seems to me like a bunch of dilly-dallying. Like, that one doesn't feel that realistic to me.
You're getting the report every couple days. It doesn't look like him and the Dodgers are going to actually work it out, which screams to me they're like, Dodgers, can you just step it up a little bit so we can get the deal over the line? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and maybe the Red Sox are playing it that way. Maybe the Red Sox are like, why would we even, like, you're not using us for leverage. Like, if you're going to stay in LA, then stay in LA, and we're not going to, try and pursue you so that another reporter can be like, yep, Red Sox were second on this one too. God. Like, it's like, we have the right to be like, we weren't even in on the guy. But with Bregman, I've gone back and forth on it. At times it was, yeah, maybe this could happen. Then there were other times where I'm like, this is definitely not happening. This is a waste of time. Like, based on where the Red Sox are at, thinking wise, based on where Bregman's at, asking wise, like, this isn't happening. Then you would get to a point where it's like, okay, like, maybe we're inching towards a middle ground here. That's great. Maybe some progress is being made in terms of finding a middle ground. And then I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think where I stand on it right now is I don't have the highest of hopes. No.
Well, we hear a couple days ago, Bradfo had the Tigers, right, is the team in front of the Red Sox right now. I think everyone was getting off on the core comments down when he was at the Puerto Rican Winter League, where he's like, we're looking for a right-handed second baseman. That was the quotes coming out. I'm not going to act like I can translate what he was saying, but that was the buzz. Everyone's like, oh, right-handed second baseman, Bregman slots in. I guess it could also be Gleyber Torres, right, if you want to have that. But I think it's also pretty telling if they're looking for something like that, how they're viewing like the early season with the Christian Campbells, even a Vaughn Grissom, and how they're going to approach that stuff.
Yeah. There's also, it's the Red Sox, yes. The Tigers, yes. There's also, like, in terms of like aggressive bidders, there's a team out there. So, like,
is it a team who already has a third baseman?
I can't comment on that. But what I will say,
and he doesn't know. He's just guessing, right?
I'm just guessing all this shit. I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. But especially like all the scoop shop has no juice. I just want to live up to that. Like, I don't actually know anything. But what I will say is that there's definitely a team out there that is super aggressive and has no problem being like, we want you really bad, and here's how we will reflect that. So that's what makes me think if the Red Sox are like, maybe I guess we could use you, maybe we want you, then how could I sit here and say, yeah, I see the Red Sox coming out on top in this one when there's someone being like, please sign with us. Here's a ton of money, please. And then the Red Sox are just like, maybe do you pitch? Can we put you at a position somewhere? Like, I don't know. That's why I don't think that it's going to end up being us.
And even though we've kind of all talked about wanting Bregman on the team, I think that's my biggest concern with Bregman ending up with the Red Sox is that's the kind of player that you kind of need to be all in on. That's not really like, all right, I guess we'll fall back and sign Alex Bregman to like a 6-year deal worth a ton of money. Typically, you would now be what Jerry's alluding to, and completely hypothetically, this is not informed, I'm sure, from him. You would need to be that team that's aggressive to land an Alex Bregman, and you'd need to be like really pursuing him, really selling him on, what he could be for the Red Sox, how important he could be for this team. He could be like a face of the team, voice of the team kind of guy. You don't normally fall into those guys after months go by in the offseason. But after Christmas, like, we're always getting into that standoff territory. So there is that part of it. This next like month and a half, prices change. You might be able to chop a year off. You might be able to work a different deal that initially at the start of the offseason wasn't going to be possible. So that, to me, gives me a little bit more hope with the Bregman situation. But I had tweeted this out about the rotation. Now they kind of have the rotation part figured out, but it does feel like that Ocean's 11 scene where it's like, you think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more. Like, the current Red Sox situation, the current Red Sox roster and makeup doesn't feel complete. It doesn't feel like this offseason is, you can put a bow on it and, we're good to enter the year. I know Coley's alluded to it. Obviously, you have young options that can fill in places that you have, spaces of need. But Bregman would check so many boxes that I wish, and again, Jerry's saying hypotheticals, but I wish there was some more aggression. I wish I could feel that aggression towards a player that would seem to check a ton of your needs.
Well, I think with Bregman, too, it's like the constant, I wish he was 2 years younger. I wonder if where the Red Sox, if they do make an offer, right? I wonder when they approach this.
How do we know they haven't?
I don't know. I'm just wondering. I don't know. Say they're sitting at, something like 5 years and they're like, we're willing to do like 30, 31 to kind of meet him in the middle. he's probably going to want those 7 years at the end of the day, because this is going to be his last real contract. Like the next contract coming when he's 37, 38 years old and hanging on as a undersized kind of third baseman type. Like, I don't know, it probably won't be too great at that point. So yeah, if you're not willing to get uncomfortable, and this is where the Red Sox need to be all in on their evaluation, and we know they're not. We know Cora feels one way. We know Breslow feels one way. Breslow's saying, well, I need to think about 7 years from now. Cora's like, I need to think about tomorrow and winning. He probably doesn't care about the years. I wonder if Breslow's kind of like, man.
Of course.
Well, think about it from Cora's perspective. Why wouldn't Cora care about the years? He's signed here for 3. The fuck do I care about
and look
years?
what he's been through.
5, 6,
Look what
7,
he's already been
to
through.
About it.
Like, he's been through enough at this point where it's like, guys, you know I didn't sign this extension just to keep doing the same song and dance of spending like $20 million in offseason. Like, come on. This is when you got to get the pieces. Finally, we have guys coming up. This is when you compete for winning the division and getting to the World Series. So I get why Cora is frustrated, but Jerry, you alluded to it. It kind of pisses me off that all these reports do get out. I don't like knowing everything that's going on. I would prefer it to be, under wraps, and maybe we know some things in the scoop shop, but not just public knowledge of all the behind the scenes stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know anything. Anything that's in the scoop shop that's information does not come from me.
You never put anything in there. Like, we're kind of carrying you in that chat, I would say. Especially T. Like, T's dropping bombs.
I always got something.
You should have seen the thing that he was posting in there the other day about the Red Sox and the things that they were doing. Coley?
I'm going to preference this. I don't think anyone's going to like it.
Oh, no.
Would most of the Red Sox problems that they've inflicted upon themselves be solved instantaneously by trading Rafael Devers?
What?
They won't spend because they've got $30 million sitting right there. They're trying to move third baseman to play center field because they are too cowardly to ask the bad third baseman to DH.
I don't think all right.
He's a lefty, Jared. He doesn't hit right-handed.
I don't want Coley to say this because they take what he says very seriously. So I would rather we just delete
don't
this.
Put this
maybe
out into the
bleep
ether.
this, Jake.
Yeah, because
they didn't sign. Steve was just talking about signing contracts they don't fully believe in. They signed that contract because the Penguins played a home game at Fenway Park. That's why they signed that contract.
Because they had the sign there from our guy saying pay players. Yeah, no, they definitely got kind of bullied into signing that contract. And they still signed it for a hitter and not a third baseman. So what you're saying is not as outlandish as it sounds, but it's still outlandish.
No, it's a terrible thing to say. That's why I prefaced it. I usually don't preface things.
It's an awful thing to say. It's an awful thing to say.
Coley prefacing something's very rare, so that's why I was scared.
I'm going to throw a hypothetical out there. Let's just say hypothetically. Hypothetically speaking, the Red Sox were to sign Alex Bregman or trade for Nolan Arenado. For right now, the Red Sox it would make sense if they were like, he's our third baseman, because they don't have the guy to move him off third base. So they're going to say, yeah, he's a third baseman. Of course, we believe in it. Like, they're not going to outwardly say, yeah, we're moving this guy off third base. And then what if Arenado doesn't waive his no trade, or what if a team comes in like the Bogart situation with fucking doubling the offer the Red Sox made? Like, you don't say we're moving him off third base until you have the guy to move him off third base.
For sure.
So I don't think the Red Sox are afraid of telling him he's a DH now. It's only his agent that has come out and been like, he's a third baseman. He's working hard to be a third baseman. It's like, why do you fucking care?
Well, spearheaded too that Devers really wants to be playing third base this offseason. That's was 2-3 weeks ago.
Also, why would the team care? It's like, agent, shut up. Like, we made you a bunch of money for a guy that can't field.
It's that, and it's the fact that they can't move him to DH right now. They do not have the ability with Masataka Yoshida on the books. They need to find something to do with the player. He's on the books. They need to do something with him.
And in terms of how much we've heard this offseason about what might be going on in the inner workings of the Red Sox, isn't it funny that like nothing's come out about Yoshida? Have we heard
his
anything?
Shoulders mush. He just had surgery.
No, but like wouldn't I find it hard to believe that no team would have interest at all in Masataka Yoshida if you eat some of the contract.
If it's injury, if it's the fact, and I think this is part to blame for the Red Sox, how you treat a player when he's here in terms of maintaining that value. You turned him into a platoon hitter. You basically said, we don't believe he can hit lefties at this point. So if you're another team, you're saying, we're going to take $18 million for a guy who can only face righties and is so bad you would never play him in the outfield unless it's an emergency. There's no team that wants to take that on.
We talk about the dinner, though.
He's a great dinner.
Buddy, yeah.
Well, we talk about luxury tax, but it's like, yeah, the Red Sox have essentially created their own Yoshida tax, where the way that you handled him, you now...
Why
a big part of it is you have to pay that. I just got to figure a team would give
attach
something.
a prospect. Like if you want to that badly to get him off the books, attach a prospect to him. You have the ability to do that.
There's one team. People won't like this either. There's one
the
team
Yankees.
that will take. No. There's one team that would take Masataka Yoshida but they would be salary dumping more than us, and it's the Minnesota Twins, and we would be getting back a player. I think this is the middle ground. I don't think there's a middle ground with Bregman. I just don't think the Red Sox are going to meet his price. But there was a free agent a few years ago that I know Cora liked, and I liked, and he's been okay. He gets injured, but his name's Carlos Correa. And the Twins want to get rid of that money, and the Red
Twins
Sox
would get bullied so hard if they traded Carlos.
They don't
Correa.
have. They don't even have a TV station, Jared. By who? No one watches the Twins already.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that is something that
it's half-assing it by the Red Sox. It's absolutely. It's not a good plan, but I think that's where this is going.
No, just like including David Price in the trade for Mookie Betts was half-assing it. It's like, how do we get rid of this money? Oh, attach Mookie Betts to David Price. I'll do it.
Attach the greatest
We'll take their second best catcher prospect. We'll take their outfielder they hate.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll take this dude that's going to be playing in Japan in 2 years.
We didn't even get Kenta Maeda went in that deal, didn't he? He went to the Twins in that deal.
Yeah,
we didn't even get him.
No, it's crazy.
Correa would be checking all those boxes though across the board. You're getting the elite defense, the right-handed hitter of Fenway. I think he has a little bit of that edge that
we talk about not with like Bregman. Puerto Rican Trevor Story at this point.
It is. It's half-assing at 1,000%.
Carlos Correa had a 152 OPS plus last year. Say what you will, he was hurt.
How many games did he play?
It was 86.
Right.
More. More games.
More games than Trevor Story. Yeah, but if Trevor Story never signed here and you signed Carlos Correa instead and he played 86 games, we'd be having a conversation about this guy never plays any games.
No, listen, like I said, I think it's half-assing at 1,000%. But
he also played 130 games the 2 years before that.
Yeah, now, he's been healthier than Trevor
I'd be
Story,
against it, Coley? No, I would not be against it. Just because, and I love Yoshida. I know it's hard to like say that in the same sentence as like I want him off the team, but I love him at the same time. Love Yoshida, but he just doesn't fit roster-wise. And the best Red Sox team is the one where he's not on it because you need to free up DH.
It's very true.
Like you need to take Devers off third base and move him to DH, have a better defensive third baseman, have a shortstop that can actually play. And like that may be Trevor Story, because I think it's like, I get it. Fans are frustrated with Story's ability to stay on the field, but it was a freak accident. Like it's not like it was, he's not conditioned. He's Pablo Sandoval. He's fat. His belt exploded. Like, dude dove for a ball and like fucked up his shoulder.
Yeah.
So I'm not out on Story. I know the difference that he can make. Like what was his WAR in like the minimum amount of games that he played last year? And it was pretty much all defense because he hasn't hit for shit in like 3 years.
No.
So last year when he came back, he was worth 0.6 F4, 0.3
right, so
the year before.
What about B-WAR? 2.5?
Yeah, 2.5 feels like a lot.
2.5 is strong.
Because say what you will about Trevor Story.
Say what you will.
He was a league average bat last year, even though you look at the metrics. I'm not going to sit here and act like they look good. He wasn't Tyler. It was 0.7 B-WAR.
Dude, a 104 OPS plus in like 8 games.
All right, so never mind.
I think you're thinking of 2022, Jared, when he was 2.5 in like 90 games that year.
Yeah, something like that.
Last time he was actually healthy.
And that was second base. Yeah. Like Correa, you could play at third too. And I think that would help. Because again, I don't know why we're trying to block. We finally have a second baseman. I would argue we have two. I know people don't even count Von Grissom as part of the team. But him being there, David Hamilton
counts,
being there.
But no one is thinking about him at all.
No, and I understand you don't want to be like, well, we've got Von Grissom. There's not, like, he's still like, if he was technically still a prospect, he'd be in the top 4. Like,
this is good that no one's thinking of him, by the way.
Think of him like he's 27. Like he's
super young.
I'm
glad no one expects anything from him. That's like good. That's good to motivate him. Absolutely. I would prefer that.
Younger than Raphael Like I always will be, by the way. Like that won't change.
Our best prospect, Rafael.
But yeah, I think he's going MVP this year. So that I don't hate the Correa idea, but I do think it's half-assing it. And I do think like we should be holding the ownership front office to much higher standards than half-assing it.
I just think when you're talking about Teoscar or a Bregman or any of this right now, someone is getting pushed into an uncomfortable spot. If you get Teoscar Hernandez today, he's your left fielder. So at that point, Ceddanne Rafaela, you're moving into a utility role, are you not? Because you still have Wilyer Abreu and Roman Anthony to figure out right field in the next, 3-4 months. Jarren Duran needs to play center. So how are you fitting? There's an uncomfortable trade here, no matter what. It's a little less for Teoscar, don't get me wrong. But I think the thing people fall in love with Bregman a little bit is maybe, plugging him at second base, it raises your overall kind of ceiling a bit because you're getting defense that should at least be average at second base if you buy what Alex Cora says.
It's only Yoshida that's clogging this up. Like, what's the game where you like stack the objects on each other and then you get all the points if like you match them up?
No, Stackers.
Nailed it.
Stacker. It's a
I used to
combo.
be nasty at that game.
Fucking Tetris?
Yeah, Tetris. I think I'm thinking of Tetris. Yeah. And it's just like you got to hit the right object with the right object.
The kids these days, they have this game on their phones. They play it nonstop, and it's called like Block Breakers or some shit like that.
Brick Breaker Operation.
I'm like, that's Tetris. They're like, what's Tetris? I'm like, what you're playing right now. They just call it something else. It's fucking crazy. Yoshida is that one shape where it's like, we can't find the match for it. But when you do, it opens everything else up. If they can just trade him or get him off the roster, it immediately changes the whole dynamic of your offense. And then I don't know if that's the uncomfortable trade you're talking about. I don't think that's that uncomfy, depending on what it is. Then now have Arenado or Bregman at third, and all of a sudden your entire lineup is fine. You don't have a logjam at like any position. Of course, you're going to have a couple extra guys. There we go. Block blast operation. But you're going to have a couple extra guys to fill in here and there. But yeah, I keep thinking, and when we do these hypotheticals and look at what the roster is going to be coming up in 2025, it's Yoshida that's clogging the whole thing up. And once you either clear that out or trade him or do whatever you can, or just are okay with eating his contract and then maybe being over the luxury tax, it changes the whole dynamic of your team and makes you immediately, to me, a division contender and not just a playoff contender.
I do feel like they're too cheap to eat his contract. I don't believe they are willing to just eat that money. Why?
Go ahead. They should be, and maybe this is extreme. They should be willing to like DFA the guy.
I don't think he's that bad.
You got to get something for him. You got to be able to get something.
He's of no use to you if he can't play the field and he can't hit lefties. And he's slotted as your full-time DH. And you need the DH spot for Devers.
But I think they look at it and they're probably not extremely keen on Teoscar or Bregman and handing that money out. They're more willing to say, you know what, Randall Grichuk, come in, we'll platoon you with Yoshida. Yes, you're a lefty masher, and we'll do it that way. Rob Resslander, it's still clunky with the bench, but we'll mix and match him depending on Roman Anthony comes up or how they want to do that. But that will give them options. That to me is what scares me, that they're going to say, hey, we believe Yoshida can hit righties. Grichuk, you come in here, you mash lefties. Yeah. We'll put you together and we'll get the value out of that spot that we think we'd get, instead of giving $22 million to Teoscar.
I got to say, if there were odds on the rest of the offseason, that's probably the most favored.
Very high.
Which one? That they get neither?
Having a platoon with Yoshida and staying under the tax.
Ooh. They can't be done. I don't believe that they're done.
Do you think they believe they can't be done? That's the most important part, because I think there's a version of them that does think they might be done.
I gave props to Breslow on Twitter the other day, and I was basically just like, it was after we haven't even mentioned the name Walker Buehler yet.
I know,
we're like almost an hour into this fucking podcast. We haven't even mentioned that they signed Walker Buehler.
Respect Patrick Sandoval.
I won't yet, but they've signed Walker Buehler. And I said, I love the signing. I love Walker Buehler. I love how this changes the entire dynamic of the rotation for me. But they've still yet to make the big spend. Like, this does not beat the allegations that they won't open up the wallet for a big spend. So props to Craig Breslow for searching for alternatives nonstop, day after day, Like they're trying, like they're shopping Triston Casas. They're dangling Wilyer Abreu. I'm sure they're trying. Like I understand, like there's sometimes like in the past, for example, John Farrell was a fucking idiot. And like he just didn't know how like baseball.
Just for example,
just for example, right? Like he used to like pinch hit for Travis Shaw against lefties, and then you would look at Travis Shaw's number against lefties, and he would hit like 353 with a 987 OPS, and you'd be like, just because, like I get it, the old school mentality is like, well, lefties can't hit lefties, and beep up, beep beep beep. It's like, well, look at the fucking numbers. And he just didn't do it. So there are times where you as a fan, you actually are smarter than the people that are making the decisions. That does happen sometimes. But in this particular case, we're all sitting here being like, dude, fucking, why don't you trade Yoshida, dude? Well, you haven't thought of that? The fuck? I do think that they've thought of that. They've tried to do it. They've laid out options like, what does the roster look like if we do this, and how do we do this? How much money are we allowed to eat on this? I'm sure all these conversations have taken place. The fact that it hasn't happened yet means it's a difficult task to execute, and that's all there is to it. Every option that we've thrown out there of like, this is what they should do, this is what they could do, here's a creative option maybe they haven't thought of, they probably have thought about it.
Perhaps. But even to Steve's point about them, like no one would want him. You look at a guy like Jock Peterson, who has been better than Masataka Yoshida and plays perpetual 1-year deals. He's played for the entire NL West. He's with the Rangers now after they traded Nathaniel Lowe. People would like Yoshida if it wasn't, was it 4 more years left or 3?
3.
354. Yeah, that's a little bit better. But even that, like, guys, they want to give him $12 million for 1 year, maybe. And that's some teams. Other teams want nothing to do with them. So that's why it's going to have to be a salary dump. Like Cody Bellinger probably would have worked. Although even he didn't have 3 years left. He only had 2 years left.
I think the more we talk about what the Red Sox need, the more you realize, to Jerry's point, that they are having the same conversations. And this offseason has felt the most like that. In the past, I don't think we've gotten any signs that they're having the same convos because they didn't make the moves. Now they are getting Garrett Crochet, and they are signing Walker Buehler to a 1-year deal. And that is funny. We haven't talked about Buehler yet, but that is probably what concerns me the most about the Yoshida thing, is that of course they are having those conversations, but then there's been no reports of any progress at all. So they got to be even further back than they would have been with any of these other guys that are, to our benefit, already on the team.
Does it concern you at all, Steve, that it's gotten out that they've dangled Triston Casas to every team, but like there's been no smoke on Yoshida being dangled anywhere, or that they've talked to anyone about trying to take him on?
I think they realized very quickly they were cooked on that front. And that's
why we would have heard more about it by now.
Yeah, I go back to the DFA.
Or just attach a prospect. You can eat it. You'll be okay. You'll live.
You got to be able to make a trade for Yoshida before a DFA. I can't believe it would get to DFA.
Well, what if you DFA him and he clears waivers? Then can't you just option him at that point?
They have changed like the Alan Craig lifestyle. You can't like circumvent like the money like they used to do with Alan Craig and Rusney Castillo.
Right, like he would, and Rusney Castillo. Like you would still have to pay him, but at least like having the roster spot open and having him not on the roster, like that to me has value. I don't know. This feels like a Yoshida hate conversation. It's really I want the Red Sox to be better conversation, and there are ways to do that, and it kind of starts with him not being on the team.
No, it's not you, it's me conversation. Like Masataka Yoshida has not deserved this, but because of the position he plays, because of what the Red Sox have forced him into, he's now in this position, unfortunately.
And it's what the Red Sox have told. They hate him.
Yes.
All of the negative things we know about him are said by the Red Sox. Like if he played left last year, I don't think we would have once brought up like, man, they really got to improve left field defense. Not one time would that have come up on the program.
Which is another reason why I think someone could trade for, because it's like, just because the Red Sox have told you he's this, that doesn't mean he's this.
They've seen.
No, I know.
When he was with the Oryx Buffaloes, they've only seen him ride the pine in Boston. I'm
basically asking for a team to just take a leap of faith, which is what they don't do when you're taking on that money. But like, still, this guy has more value than what the Red Sox have shown. And even in the time he's played for the Sox, he's given you pretty big glimpses of what he can do at the major league level. But clearly no one's biting, or else we would have heard more by now.
I'll also add, we know that Yoshida, even if a team was like, hey, crazy, he can play left field, he's not going to be ready to either. They're like, yeah, his bat should be ready for opening day. Should be. So it's like, if there's even a slight thing that goes wrong here in this rehab, and on top of that, if you did deal, you don't know when he's going to be able to play the outfield for you. It could be May, it could be June, so you don't have that flexibility there either. T,
just in case any of those teams are listening right now, just disregard that teams, because he's going to be ready and he's going to be great. He's rested.
Right? He's going to be awesome.
He's called Roki Sasaki, said do not take any phone calls from the Boston Red Sox. Thank you.
We should stage a segment on this podcast talking about how he's awesome and we don't want the Red Sox to trade him. We actually want the Red Sox to give him an extension. Yes. And then just clip that and then tag every team in the league.
All right, should we start now?
All right, I'll start first.
All right.
It's awesome that they got Walker Buehler. It's great that they traded for Garrett Crochet. But let's talk about the fact that look at all the money, like Juan Soto's contract. How awesome does Masataka Yoshida's deal look now? Looking at fucking Juan Soto, because everyone's like, oh wow, like Juan Soto's defense sucks, and like he's just a glorified DH. What do you think Masataka Yoshida is? He's a guy that can absolutely play a Gold Glove defense in left field. And then you want to talk about a lefty bat with some pop and the ability to get on base. Yoshida, you're getting Yoshida for like what, 10% of Juan Soto? It's what a steal for the Red Sox. I've never been more pumped to have a guy on my team.
And this guy's like the face of the team, right? Like this is the guy in the clubhouse that they all ride for. This is the guy that gets the entire team going. And production wise, I mean, don't look at the numbers, but like he's the top production guy on the Red Sox. That's why. And did you see that? Have you seen the ratings? Like the Nesson ratings have 20x'd since adding Yoshida, because of all the fans in Japan that love this guy and they tune in to watch him every single night. Plus, it reinvigorated the fan base in Boston. There were a lot of people that after the Mookie Betts trade, they tuned out. They were like, fuck this team. Then they signed Yoshida, and all the fans were like, wait, they got Masa? And people I know from back home that didn't even like baseball, they were all like football, basketball, golf fans. They stopped watching the sports that they loved, tuned into baseball and the Red Sox specifically. And I was just looking at Instagram, all of them got Yoshida jerseys for Christmas. So it's like you've got the ratings going up, you've got the productivity on the field going up, you've got the morale in the clubhouse going up, and then you've got the revenue going up because of all the jersey sales. Everything is up with Masataka Yoshida on your team.
I'll also add the Macho Man. 10 stolen bases in his career, has never been thrown out one time. Not one single time.
Not one time.
Might be the greatest base runner of all time. He picks his spots. He's very careful. But this is something people don't talk enough, when it comes to him.
I agree. Coley?
I mean, you talk about the clutch factor. Was there a more seminal moment last year than that? It wasn't a walk-off because it was on the road, but going into Yankee Stadium and just putting one into the night sky. That's
off an all-star closer, by the way.
Now a starting pitcher. That's how good his stuff was.
Yeah,
and he did that all season.
And said, I've never seen him. It's like when Satchel Paige was being banned from the MLB. I can't remember why. And DiMaggio got a weak nibbler up the middle in a game. It wasn't an officially sanctioned game. I can't remember why. And they called back on. They said, this guy, Joe DiMaggio, is the best I've ever seen. They said, why? They said, he got a bloop off Satch. And they said, why don't we just sign Page? They said, I can't remember why. But that's what they saw when they saw Yoshida off Holmes. They said, listen, Holmes got everyone else out. He couldn't get Yoshida out. I'm not going to hold that against him. How could I?
No. Jake, what do you think about Yoshida?
I mean, what this guy has done for the city of Boston and really the sport in general is just fucking unbelievable. I'm just glad he's on our team and nobody else's.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, to the Boston point, can you go anywhere in Boston without seeing a Yoshida bumper sticker?
No.
They're everywhere.
Jerseys, T-shirts, yeah. Oh
People
my
just
God.
chanting his name, Yoshida.
Yo,
It's like
saved my
every
life.
store I go to. Yeah.
Yeah, like I went to the dentist the other day, and the woman at the white woman, by the way, white woman at the desk, she was like, "Oh, I'm just back from maternity leave." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Did you must have just had a baby?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, what'd you name the little guy?" She said Masataka. And I was like, "You're a white woman from Revere."
Masataka Johnson.
Yeah. And yep.
You said in Japan,
that's just happening.
technically his last name. You gave him a last name for a first name, you buffoon.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was, it's just happening, and thank God he's on the Boston Red Sox and no one else can have this guy. Don't even fucking try.
Extend him now. That's the first thing they should do.
All right, Jake, cut all that,
Okay.
make that into a promo,
So-
and then we can send it to all the teams.
In the real world, because Correa had all those injuries, he only has 4 years left and then 4 option years on the end of it.
4 option years?
Yeah, well, remember he signed with the Giants and then they were horrified, and then he signed with the Mets and they were
Mets.
like, "Fuck that!" And then he went back to the Twins, so he signed. It was like a 9-year deal, but really only 5 because he's got the next 4 years where he's owed 37, 32, 31, 31, so like 33, 34 AAV.
Didn't he
And then
already opt out with the Twins once and then went back to the Twins?
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, he opted out after 1 year with the Twins. He signed like a 3-year deal. I believe all 3 of those years had options as well. He opted out, hit free agency. The Giants signed him while he was like getting dressed for the press conference. They were like, "Dude, your medicals are the worst we've ever seen." They pulled the deal.
Amputation.
And then the Mets were like, "Fuck yeah, we would love to have Carlos Correa and Jose." Not Jose Iglesias. Well, also Jose Iglesias.
100%.
Why am
Lindor.
I blanking on their Frankie Lindor, not Jose.
Jose Iglesias.
Frankie Lindor was like, "Please sign this guy." Cohen was like, "I love spending money. Let me just take a quick peek at these medicals. We're not going to do that." And then the Twins were like, "We would please, God, love to keep you." And he was like, "No one else wants me, so I guess." And here they are with 4 years left, over 30. They're still trying to cut money. I think you could maybe do this 1-for-1.
But don't include that, Jake, in the video.
Yeah.
No. That's why Jared said cut it.
Okay, yeah. That's we cut it.
But if he's fine, then you get a $25 million team option for when he's 34. Like Carlos Correa is not old yet. This will be his age 30 season.
It's not crazy.
How long before we see on Mass Live that the Red Sox are talking to the Twins about a Masataka Yoshida? Carlos
Is it by
Correa
the new
swap?
year or not? Probably before the new year. I'd say New Year's Eve. We probably get that.
Yeah, I mean, Craig Breslow does not celebrate Christmas, so there was no reason why he couldn't have been working this deal.
He's got nothing else going on.
This is what he's doing.
He's got Hanukkah
Already made a
going
deal
right?
on Christmas Eve.
Who did?
Breslow.
Was Walker Buehler on Christmas Eve?
Oh, no. The Mickey Gasper trade.
With who, Tyler?
The Minnesota Twins.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Breslow's got Hanukkah going on this next week, right?
Yeah, I don't know how Hanukkah works. It's like one gift per night.
Yeah, 8 nights, right?
So-
That's about as much as I know.
8 crazy nights, Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Candles.
then he's got nothing going on during the day, right? It's not like an all day thing. It's just like a night thing.
No.
No, I think the day you can
Big-time
make
night
deals,
thing.
but then at night you can't make
Yeah.
deals. I think that's what
You
Hanukkah
fast,
says.
right?
For 8
I think
days.
you're confusing that with
Different
Passover.
holiday.
I don't think
Okay.
you fast during Hanukkah. No.
I'm ignorant.
Jake, book someone that's Jewish. I don't know
Haim.
how this works.
Yeah.
Haim is not gonna.
Section 10 along.
Who?
Coley
First-
can negotiate the Yoshida trade and work on this during the podcast. We get to hear how things ended here for Haim, and he can tell us about Hanukkah. That's a win-win situation.
Yeah, there's most of my Jewish friends. I don't know that they would come on this podcast.
By the way, Jake, you have all the team emails, right? It's just
Tate-
like mariners at
Tate-
gmail.com.
Is Pat
that-
Jewish?
No.
Pat Light?
Yeah?
No.
I don't know. I never asked him.
Congrats to Pat Light, by the way.
Yep. Engaged. Yep. Pat Light got engaged. There's also I think I told Jake, but there's also some cool Pat Light news that It's not my news. It's not my news to share. It's his news to share. But some cool Pat Light news that could potentially be made known to the fans in 2025, which would be great for all of us as friends of Pat. Yeah,
Tyler's
Tease out, Pat Light's back.
Oh, I meant for the team.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Jay, cut that.
Damn it.
Yeah. The question isn't if, but how many blue moons did you have for Christmas, T?
26.
26 spread out over Christmas Eve and Christmas Day responsibly, right?
Of course, I wouldn't want to go too crazy.
Yeah. Because some beers can say that they're brewed for baseball, but only Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. Beer and baseball, they just go together, and no beer goes better than the one that was literally born in a ballpark. Blue Moon was created at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. It's the natural choice for opening day and all season long. From its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that is one-of-a-kind? Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience that is perfect for spring weather. Best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color. A beer this good only comes around once on a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale. It's a one-of-a-kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared to see your delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I had some Blue Moons last weekend because I had a Christmas party at my house in which I extended an invite to every
I knew you were going to do this.
Single one involved in Section 10. And guess who came? Listeners, I'm not talking to anyone here. Guess who came? Listeners. Just have an answer in your head. Guess who came out of all the people that I asked to come here?
T-Dog.
The answer is nobody. Nobody came. Not one. Not a one.
Had to work, Jerry.
No. T?
Yeah, so I think your approach here was not your strongest approach. I think calling the night beforehand, I don't know, maybe everyone else got invites well before I did. I might be outing you right now. But I didn't find out until the night before, and I was already away from Martha's mom's birthday. J-Dog.
The only person that I asked in advance was Coley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, I got the call the night before, too. Don't worry.
You deserve it.
Yeah. So
Coley wasn't even in this fucking state.
I never am.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Literally all the time he's not in the state.
That's true. I have my finger on the suspended button because I feel like shit could pop off at any minute.
I genuinely wanted to be there.
Oh, I know you did. I know
you're acting like I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be there. I had to work. I was honest with you, face to face. We did a FaceTime. I was like, I can't be there. I got to work for the dog.
You FaceTime Steve too. I thought when you FaceTime me, you never FaceTime me.
I know, but I wanted to. Did I not invite you?
You did,
and you did it during dinner, during time with D-Train, so you knew it was valuable. I appreciated that. You
called him the same time you called me.
Tyler, who cares how we got the invite? You're too stuck on this.
I'm hurt.
Yeah, I invited you guys at the same time.
I thought Jerry was just sitting there.
That's what people do.
I just thought he was like, I need one guy for this party. I need one person. The person who's going to make this bash happen is Tyler.
I mean, put it this way, T. If I didn't want you there, then I just wouldn't ask.
Yeah, you're upset now, T. You'd be way more upset if you didn't get invited, and we all did. Come on now.
That's true.
Yeah,
I think I was the only one really invited.
Oh yeah, big time.
The only person that has a right to be upset. There's one person who has a right to be upset about this.
And
it's Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
It's Jeremy, because once I invited everyone and knew no one was coming, I was like, I'm not going to put Jeremy in a situation to come hang out with like Danielle's crazy friends. Like, I'm just not doing it. I was like, once I was like, none of my friends will be there, then I'm like, you're going to have no one to talk to. So Jeremy, I apologize. I apologize that none of them accepted the invitation.
See, you didn't tell me you needed it that bad.
What do you mean? I wanted you to. My night would have been better if you guys were there. But Jake had plans. T was like, I'm not coming. Steve said he was coming. Didn't show up.
That.
I didn't say I was going. No, I told you I was working for the dog. I had stuff to do for the dog.
Not go. What? What'd you say?
I said I had stuff to do for the dog. I told you that.
Yeah, you had to do social media. You had to tweet football games.
No, it's not just.
I
need the laptop. I create content for the dog.
Like there's no way.
I'm not doing that at a party. I'm not doing that at a party. Nope.
There's no way to watch a football game at Jared's house.
I'm not going to be at a party at your house with my laptop, like making photoshops and tweeting out. Not doing that.
Why not?
Not doing that. That's not polite to be at a party on the laptop and posting. No way. I want to be like I wanted to be there with the Santa hat with the Perrault of the year and really make that a fun time. No, I know.
But here's the thing. I invited everyone, like I said, pretty much the night before.
Yeah, we should factor that in more.
Coley, what day did you find out?
Weeks in advance.
Yeah. December 9th.
of 2023. Yeah, he's known about this for like a year.
Jared?
So originally it was kind of like, so we've obviously never done this before, but it was forming as more of a couples thing at first. And then it evolved into like, all right, so then there's non-couples coming. And I was like, all right, so then I'll invite my friends. I'll invite my friends then. Because originally it was just like, D-Train's family and like some couples. And then once it became not that, I was like, all right, then I'll invite the fellas. T.
Quick question here.
Yep.
Me and Martha, we didn't just get together. So we were technically a couple when you were approaching this conversation and speaking.
Yeah, but you're like a lost puppy. So like if I just invited you as my friend, like I needed everyone to be there. You know what I mean? Like I invited everyone.
I don't want to hang out with you, but if you're there and everybody else is there,
it's not
maybe
no. It's not that I didn't want to hang out with you. I just didn't want to feel responsible for you
babysitting me.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because I don't like, you're not the type of guy that's going to go up to someone you don't know and like spark up a conversation. So I would have felt responsible for you if it was just you.
Not a good conversation.
I needed to like monitor the things that were coming out of your mouth so that people felt comfortable.
I won't argue against that.
Yeah, but like, Coley and his wife have hung out with me and D-Train multiple times. So like I feel comfortable setting Coley off into the world. His wife has D-Train and McMahon is a social butterfly. He would have made friends somehow, some way. With you, I get nervous. I get nervous for you, T.
I'm not the best in those situations. I can own that.
Right.
I did win a lot of money that night.
Coley?
I still apologize for not being there.
Hey, you don't owe me anything. You had a Disney trip planned. It was.
I look forward to next year, part 2, because it looked like such a fun time.
Oh, it was an awesome time.
It'll be run back.
Yeah. Next year will be even better. They were saying that last night, Christmas night, that the Saturday before Christmas is going to be the new tradition. Saturday before Christmas party. And you guys are all invited. Is Jeremy back there?
I think he's off today.
Oh, he's off today. All
Damn
it. Well, Jeremy's the first person invited.
I do respect Jake having Jeremy's back. He said, I think he's off today, which is 100% he is not here. That means he's definitely off today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's off.
Merry Christmas.
Jake's as good a friend as you're going to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So next year, Saturday before Christmas party, everyone's invited. It might be, because we did, see?
I'm saying right now, if you're extending this invite right now, that I'll be there with Dan Perrault.
That's all I want.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I'm basically just throwing a party so that I can Trojan horse Dan Perrault in the doorway.
100%.
Like, I feel weird just like inviting over Dan. But if I throw a party and invite you and Dan comes with, then it's normal.
You get exactly what you want. It's like the whole party was just to hang out with Dan, but no one would know that. Only you would know that. which works out in your favor. He had a great Christmas, by the way.
He did.
He had an awesome Christmas.
Yeah,
the longer the Christmas went on, I'm like, I understand why this guy's Perrault of the year. Like he had this video prepared of our Uncle Joe who passed in the 90s and my grandfather. And it made my mom and my aunt cry, and like he was just the entire day was planned out by Dan.
Shit, baby.
The gifts were incredible. He got me. See, we're still kids at heart, like me and my brothers. He got me this like deluxe Buzz Lightyear. This thing that I think costs like $400. I'm not
the
kidding.
one you can talk to.
Yeah, but essentially, yeah. I mean, they make these toys now that are like $400, and that's what Dan Perrault got me. I opened it, and I'm like, first off, I'm pumped because I love Buzz Lightyear. Secondly, I'm thinking like this was not cheap. This is like a very expensive item to get someone that's 34 years old. But yeah, Dan had a great Christmas. It's not surprising to anybody.
My God, all he does is crush. All he does is crush. Yeah, I mean, did you ever think, Steve, that you would get to a point in your life where it's like, oh man, I'm on this Red Sox podcast, like all this cool stuff. Like I go to Fenway, people ask me for pictures, and to go down the road to where the ending is. My brother, who's not even on the show, anytime I post a picture with this guy, all the comments are about my brother and not me.
I got two things. One, no, I didn't expect that to happen. Even my aunt was like, "Oh, you guys see the Section 10 night? Like, so many people were, coming up to Steven." She still finds all the Section 10 stuff crazy, even though we've been doing this for a while. And I stopped her and I was like, "It doesn't. I'm not Perrault of the year, so like none of that matters." Like so many people can ask me for photos, and like even when we're doing the autographs, doesn't matter. I'm in second place.
Fill the hole in my heart. It
doesn't. Yeah, it's like whatever. You guys should have seen. It's like you shouldn't have seen because I'm still second place. The other thing, Dan was out with his girlfriend in Boston a couple days ago. Someone came up to him and wanted a picture.
Who,
because
Rihanna?
he's the pro. Yeah.
just say her name, dude.
No, it was Sydney Sweeney. He was like, "Is that the Perrault of the year?" Like, what the hell? No, but someone wanted
Sydney
a picture
Sweeney
with Dan.
Just killed Rihanna as they raced towards Dan Perrault.
As they were chasing towards Dan. But no, I think he took a photo with somebody. Might even sign an autograph as Perrault of the year. So he had that experience a few days ago, and I'm sure more of that's coming.
Yeah, the thing that's going to bring me the most joy in 2025 is when we have a lot. The Red Sox are going to be 11 games over 500. We're going to be talking playoffs. We're going to be doing a live show, and then just the surprise guest. By the way, Perrault of the year, Dan Perrault in the building, and he just comes out to a standing ovation. People are going crazy. Girls are throwing their bras on stage. Security's like, hold the bag. Like they think a riot's about to break out, and it's just Dan Perrault on stage. It's just a people pleaser. That's what he is.
I will say I'm a little bit worried because Brian Perrault, my younger brother, asked me yesterday, what's all this Perrault of the year stuff about? And
Don't
he
worry
asked
about
it in
Brian.
but he asked it in a way. He asked it in a way where I might be a little worried about Brian passing me in the rankings. Is all I'm saying, because he said he's going to approach 2025
competitive,
trying to get this thing. So now it's not just me trying to chase Dan down. Now Brian's in this.
All right. I mean, he's eligible. No shit.
He is.
That's crazy on your behalf to kind of like gatekeep the award to make sure that you have less competition.
It was a lack of mentioning it. That doesn't mean that I was like preventing it. It was, if he asked me, I would tell him, and I did tell him. And now he's set on. I think you should have been a little bit
more upfront about it.
But I didn't need to. Also, now he knows.
It's exactly why Dan's driving this boat, because he's not trying. There is an extra effort.
He's just being Dan.
He's just being
great.
DP. He's just life's a highway, brother. That's all. That's all he's doing. He's just riding it all night long. Brian, I would say less is more in Perrault.
Yeah.
He's trying to think.
He's the chill dog meme. That's Dan Perrault. He's just a chill guy.
Yeah.
He's not out there for the awards, but when he gets them, he's appreciative. Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't be? I can't wait for the awards next year.
I posted that photo of me and my brothers on Christmas. I think there's 70 comments being like,
let's read some.
You are so lucky to spend this holiday with the Perrault of the year.
Be grateful.
Yeah, let's see. Let's read some of these comments here.
Yeah.
Imagine getting to spend Christmas with the Perrault of the year. Holy shit.
Yeah, who put that one in?
That was me. Merry Christmas, aka Perrault of the Year party. Let's see. Dan Perrault the GOAT. Dan Perrault. Merry Christmas to Dan only. The best Perrault. Fuck yeah, Dan. Dan's the GOAT. Thanks to
these are all Jared, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks for the Christmas gift, Steve. I got everything I wanted now, being able to see Perrault of the Year. Merry Christmas to Dan Perrault, the reigning undisputed 84 consecutive weeks Perrault of the week. Dan must be having a pretty good Christmas. Dan with the greater than sign. Merry Christmas to Dan specifically.
That might be
also Mrs. Perrault, but mostly Dan. This is a lot of Perrault of the Year nominees. Nah.
I mean, that's true. One. That is true. Nominee.
Nominees,
nominee.
No doubt.
Can't take that away from me. I am a Perrault of the Year nominee.
Yeah. I spy a Perrault of the Year. Nice of the Perrault of the Year to take time out of his busy schedule to make an appearance. There's the Perrault of the Year. Is that the 84-time Perrault of the week?
It keeps going, dude. I'm telling you.
On Christmas.
I think it's the most comments I've ever gotten on an Instagram post. Like, no way,
Someone
dude.
commented POTY. Can't believe we got a Dan Perrault signing. This dude just said Dan.
I think if you had posted a picture with Pedro and Ortiz, it would have got less comments.
Yeah. No, I 100% would get less. I mean, I literally posted the video with Pedro, and it got way less.
That's what made me think of it. Yeah.
Way less.
Yeah, Pedro video, 21 comments. This is at like 65. So there we go.
Yeah.
Imagine if Pedro was like, now where is Dan? Where?
I'm talking to you,
Dan
but where's
Pedro Martinez picture does numbers.
Oh God.
Yeah. That needs to happen now. We got to get that.
Just like Pedro's holding his Cy Young and Dan's holding his Perrault of the Year in the same pick.
True. Yeah, we do have to get the physical award. That's a good point.
Yeah, like I'm on it. I want to get something that's
you're gonna get him the most over the. Jared's gonna.
It's gonna look like an Emmy or something. Like I want it to be something that he can put on his mantle. Does he have an Emmy or anything for?
I'm sure he's got awards. I mean, he's made movies, you know, like I'm sure he's got some kind of awards, and he made American Vandal. He had to get something for Vandal, 100%. Sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm gonna make him a trophy.
Okay.
Well, you're gonna make a Perrault of the Year trophy, and whoever.
Yeah, come on now. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna make him a trophy for 2024.
Okay. But should it be like the Stanley Cup where? Like it just gets bigger every. Like you can add to it.
It should be 84 trophies.
The name.
What do you think? Do you think that Dan should have a case full of Perraults of the Year, or just one big one that gets passed around?
I kind of like it getting passed around, like a huge trophy, and then you just have the nameplates and you update per year, like who won it. I can already envision his name on that thing so much.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's why it's very funny.
It's going to be a long ass nameplate, which is Dan Perrault. I'm going to be 60. Like, God, could have got one.
See, that would have been a great Christmas present. Is if you gave Dan Perrault the Perrault of the Year trophy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that was a fumble.
I gave him a really cool item, but I can't say
what
it
would
is.
get him. Why?
I can't say because I can't talk about it.
Why?
I legally can't talk about it.
It's work
2
related.
pounds of Colombian heroin.
Yeah.
It's like I got him a bunch of illegal drugs, and I just can't have that out there.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. We haven't even talked about Walker Buehler.
Let's talk
yet.
down Walker Buehler. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
We're
we go.
skipping Patrick Sandoval?
Skipping? You're making that seem like he's ahead of
It
Walker
happened
Buehler.
first. We're doing chronological order here.
We're not doing chronological. We're doing just, whatever.
We started off with
we
a trade that
with.
hasn't even happened and probably won't happen. What do you mean chronological order?
Did 25 minutes on Masataka Yoshida propaganda.
We've been doing too many of these shows for you to think that Sandoval was coming before Buehler. Come on now.
If at all, like maybe not even come up.
Yeah, I was going to be fine if
that might
Titus,
be like a final
said his
thought.
K per 9. Yeah, there you go. Now, he's better than a final thought, but he didn't deserve like a, Perrault of the
Much
Year
better than
segment,
John
obviously.
Means.
Yep. You had that one, T.
I didn't say anything wrong.
No, you said it on the show.
You might have. I don't know that that's objectively true.
This was last pod.
T kind of called it a little bit. You gonna toss him? Wait, why are you tossing?
Hey, we're talking Walker Buehler here, man.
He
That's your
Sandoval
friend,
better than
right?
John
You're
Means.
friends with Walker Buehler, Jared?
And John Means.
Oh. Well, I want to talk about Walker Buehler.
All right, go ahead. Lead it off.
No. It's
Asshole.
your friend, please. It's your friend. I'm not saying anything with your finger on that button.
Come on, fucko. Let's go.
Lead it up, you dickhead.
Go ahead. What are your hot Walker Buehler takes?
I got nothing.
No, you got to lead it off.
I had hot Patrick Sandoval takes.
There's no such thing.
That's also not what we're talking about right now at all. We're talking about Walker Buehler. You know what? I'm just going to run back some of the things that I said on Baseball is Dead. I'm sorry if you listened to that episode, but my takes are my takes. I feel I've been using the word safer, more comfortable. Now that the Red Sox rotation has names, I said the 30 start boys, that's great. 30 starts is a great, I guess, benchmark to hit. But having, it's been so long since the Red Sox have developed a starting pitcher of their own that when the Red Sox have a year where 3 homegrown starting pitchers made 30 starts, it's like, all right, I don't believe that. I don't believe in it. These are Red Sox homegrown pitchers. We don't do that here. So having guys like Giolito, Buehler, Crochet, guys from outside the org who have had success at the big league level, and then they come in, trusted names. Now I just feel a little bit better. Them in addition to the 30 start boys, because I've said I think Tanner Houck is going to be even better. I know some folks think there's going to be some regression, like that was an outlier of a season, his all-star campaign last year. I disagree. That was the first time that you kind of set him off on his own to be a starting pitcher at the big league level, and that's what you got. So, I mean, I think that experience is only going to help him. It's all the building up the stamina, having the experience of knowing what worked, what didn't work, getting your body acclimated to a full big league season. All that stuff should help. So I'm going to take the positive route on Houck. I think he's going to be better in 2025 than he was in 2024. With Brian Bayo, surely you'd like to hope that he'd be better.
Second half Bayo. Like he did what he did in that second half. I don't see why I can't repeat that.
Tribulations. It is having experience, learning from said experience. I think that's my question is he had experiences that he can learn from. Is he going to learn from them? That's my question. I'd like to think yes, because he did make adjustments in the second half. He did learn from his failures in the first half and he adapted, and there was tangible difference in his second half. Can he carry that into the beginning of 2025, or is he just going to go in, fuck up again, and then have to learn from those mistakes and fix it in the second half again? That's
just
my
don't
question.
Listen to Andrew Bailey, he'll be fine.
Yeah, throw fastballs, throw sinkers.
I think for Walker Buehler, like the first thing that I kind of felt was relief. I was scared that there was going to be that Jack Flaherty contract for like 5 years or 6 years. Because I think with Walker Buehler, while you're only getting him for 1 year, I think you're getting that same type of upside into, not go back down the road of Nick Pivetta and, not getting the pick that you had got by offering him the QO. It seemed like there had been some momentum on that the last 2 weeks or so. Tom Caron saying how much the Red Sox still love Pivetta. But to basically bring on Walker Buehler, who should have a higher ceiling than Pivetta for 1 year, right? Same money. You can also attach the QO to him. And I do think the scuttlebutt going around about how he only wanted 1 year and the Red Sox kind of wanted multiple, that should give you a little hope, right? The fact that the Red Sox were trying to lock into multiple years and he's like, hey, I want to hit free agency after this. I think both sides feel that he's going to kind of get back on track and not be the pitcher he was this past regular season. It was a 5.38 ERA, 5.54 FIP in 16 starts, the worst K per 9, the worst walk per 9 of his career, coming off his second Tommy John. But what everyone kind of gravitates towards is those last 10 innings. It was 2 starts and he closed out the last inning of the World Series. Seeing him strike out 13 over that stretch, I think got a lot of people going. It's like, all right, that's the swing and miss stuff you once saw. The velo was up. I have done some research, and it seems like a lot of people that were in on the fastball moving like it did during that playoff stretch probably more unlikely because of weather, but he seems like the typical Andrew Bailey guy. More of the sinker, more of the cutter, more of the breaking stuff. He talked about it at the, during the playoff run at the end of last year, saying, hey, I may not have the best stuff I had, early on in my career, but I still think, I am the best version of myself as a pitcher yet. Well, cool. Bring him in here. He should be able to offer you mid of the rotation type stuff here, and throw that four seamer a little bit less, because guys hitting 342 against it with a 696 slug last year. Stay away from that. But I do feel like the ceiling and floor of your rotation at this point has been leveled up, because you got some ridiculous depth, in my opinion. And I think figuring out what happens with Kutter Crawford is a major part of the conversation going into spring training.
Which I hate, because Cutter's much better than two of the people they signed. And obviously Sandoval doesn't factor in, because he's not probably going to pitch this year from the sounds of it. Maybe September, maybe August.
That speaks to me more with Giolito and Buehler more likely being free agents after this year.
Sure, but you talk about raising the ceiling. I agree. The ceiling's been raised. I like Walker Buehler. Very cool. I think the last episode I was on, I don't think it made the episode. I think we were just talking ahead of time, where I was just like, can we sign Buehler just for the playoffs? Like, if we make the playoffs,
postseason dog,
game one starter. I don't care what anyone else does. Like, that's the game one starter in the playoffs. No doubt. The Red Sox need help getting to the playoffs, as we talked about earlier this episode. And if they had Buehler last year, they would have not even hit 500. Like, that's how bad he was. I do think the rotation's floor is lower than it was last year. People were very mad at me for saying that.
Oh my God. Oh my.
Let's go.
Goodness. Look who it is.
The Perrault of the fucking year has graced us with his speech. Another speech. We need another speech. Perrault of the actually. You know what? I'm gonna ask you, because your opinion is the only one that matters.
Okay.
We're gonna do a Perrault of the year trophy. Do you want it to be kind of like an Emmy, where you're just going to have a trophy case full of Perraults of the year? Or do you want it to be the Stanley Cup, where every year we etch on the name of the Perrault of the year, and you have to, at the end of the year, pass it off to someone if you lose, which, it's not going to happen, but
I'm like,
I know it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So I got to say, though, I'm loving the Stanley Cup idea.
Yeah.
Because first of all, it'll just be really nice if it just says Dan all around.
This was my biggest concern, by the way. I said this was my biggest concern.
Yeah.
But also, I will say one thing about the Perrault family. We have a lot of stuff. Even if you see over here, there's a lot of action figures and crap over here. There's a lot of Steve stuff over here. So if we can condense that into one trophy, I think that'll fit best in our family home. Would be the way I analyze that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I feel like if that's the route that we're going to go, then we'll have to do some research on how we can get a Perrault of the year kind of cup.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I was telling them how good a Christmas you had. You really had a great Christmas with the videos of Joe and
video.
Yeah,
of course.
Video, and then obviously the gifts were great. The Buzz Lightyear, everything.
Well, he got me a Nomar 1-of-1 card, which was sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Did you bring that up?
I did. Yeah.
So
you did?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll keep it moving. Yeah.
Oh, so Dan, he not a good start for Perrault of the year 2025 that he just fucking lied.
No, didn't lie at all.
To all of us and to you, the reigning Perrault of the year, just lying.
I know. Well, wait. Is it a plus that he got me a Nomar card, or a negative because he didn't talk about getting me a Nomar card? Is this a plus
both? It's a plus that he got. Gifting the Perrault of the year something awesome is a plus. Mm-hmm. Withholding it from us is bad. And then lying about withholding it from us is also bad. So it's still a net negative.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we are just trying to figure out what your thoughts are on Walker Buehler.
Yeah,
so what do you have to say about that, Dan?
Right.
I think it's great. I did a little math in my head today. I can't believe I'm doing a baseball take. This is going to be so bad. Because I'm going to describe it very weirdly. But all right, if you can try to go on 3 guys all off Tommy John surgery who have a 25% chance of hitting, and you get them on a discount, I guess the money shakes out that's better spent than if you went after a super ace, because all A-tier pitching talent is at such a premium right now that maybe your money is best spent on these post TJ guys.
I
Was
like
that
it.
a decent take?
That's not bad.
because
That's not bad.
Getting
Not a
guys on
Jack Flaherty
prove-it
guy.
deals, it depends on the character of the pitchers, but Giolito, Buehler, Crochet, all dogs. Like these are all like, fuck you, give me the ball guys. So especially Buehler. That's why I'm pretty high on that signing. You know, obviously you would love if there was an option for year 2, because if he balls out in year 1, you want to at least be able to run it back. But as far as 2025 goes, I'm pretty excited about the rotation. I genuinely am.
I am too.
So Dan is about to head to Europe. Any closing thoughts, Dan, before you head on your trip?
Let's see.
Or just thanking the fans, maybe? I mean, they flooded my
I
comments.
gotta thank the fans big time. All right, let me do 30 seconds of fan gratitude. So first of all, for them to get me the Perrault Cup, or I guess next year it's the Perrault Cup, like I'm so grateful that I got voted into that. I don't take it for granted because I actually don't think it's a guarantee I'll win every year.
Humble.
So I feel good about it and I feel great about my odds, but I never take it for granted. So thank you to the fans for that.
Mm-hmm.
Just him posting me on his Instagram yesterday made it my biggest follow day ever. Wait. I got to brag about one thing, Jared. I got to brag about one thing real quick. It was my second biggest follow day ever. Do you know what my first biggest follow day ever was?
When we took a picture together in Worcester?
I wish I could say it was that. But this is something else that would be up your alley. It is not baseball related, but it's the other thing that you love.
That I love too.
The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock posted you?
The Rock tagged
Coley
me
just
one
nailed
day.
that, by the way. That was impressive.
Good job, Coley. The
Anytime,
Rock
man.
When was
tagged me
this?
one time in 2015. I interviewed him in a high school gymnasium at 1 a.m. It's one of my better stories. We don't have time for
This
it
is
now.
Perrault of the Year stuff, by the way. This is incredible.
Yeah.
So I interviewed him in a basketball gym in Lynn, Mass at 1 a.m. in
Shout out,
2015, and he tagged me, and that was my biggest follow day. But my second biggest follow day was yesterday when he did the full Perrault brothers photo.
Yeah.
Which is a great photo.
Of course.
Great
Yeah.
photo. Great photo.
Yeah, everyone talked about you in it, but I think of the three of us, it's a great shot. Yeah.
It's a great photo.
Anyways, want to thank the fans. Want to thank you guys for making Perrault of the Year a thing, but also a fantastic year. I think 2 of the top highlights, Worcester night and Fenway night, were both amazing.
Yep.
Tyler, got to give a special shout out for you. The amount of wetness you had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Super wet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's always he keeps a baseline level of dampness, but yeah, he was extra wet.
I'm a
He
moist
wakes
individual.
Up, he wakes up wet, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you guys, well, I'm taking too much time. What was your your first show back as the 5 of you? Was what, February or something like that?
It's
March.
Yeah.
You guys like are now fully gelled. Section 10's never been better. So you guys are really in your groove right now, and I'm loving it.
You know what?
Uh-huh.
That's all the validation that we need, because we were debating earlier whether it was better with or without T. But if Dan Perrault says that it's the best it's ever been, then
saved
it's
my
the
job,
best it's
Dan.
ever been, T. Yeah, that's quite the feather in your cap, T Dog.
Biggest compliment
go.
I've ever gotten. I needed that today.
Can we hit
Yeah,
the applause
that's big.
on
Please.
his send off here? Can we hit the applause?
Thank you,
There we
everybody.
go.
Thank you, everybody.
You know what?
Thanks so
Travels.
much for having me on. Happy
Safe
New
travels,
Year.
Dan Perrault.
These are great sweatshirts.
There he is.
Don't let Steve wear you down.
Oh,
There it is.
Now I'm
Dan
gonna say goodbye to my brother.
Legend. Legend.
have a great trip.
That's
I'll see
greatness
you.
right there. That's greatness. That's Dan Perrault. Perrault
There
of
we
the
go.
year. Perrault
Yep.
of the year, 2024.
Classic Dan,
There
by
we
the
go.
way. He was barely even talking that much, and he's like, "I'm taking too much of your time." Like that's
Yeah.
just what he does.
Humble.
Humble.
Yep.
Humble, brilliant, handsome,
Mhm.
some would say genius, creative
Mhm.
genius. I mean,
Yeah.
that's undeniable.
Best friends with The Rock. I mean, come on.
Yeah, like Steve's best interview get was Zach Campbell, Dan Perrault, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, like arguably the most famous man on planet Earth.
The best thing, you have that Hample thing in your back pocket at all times. Jared
fucking
loves
hate that
using that.
I
Like
hate
you
that
were
guy.
so pumped for this. I don't think I've ever seen Jared more disgusted during an interview than when we were talking to Zach Hample, and I looked over at him like, "Why did you book this guy?"
Yeah.
That was
But yeah. Man.
Anyway, Buehler, Walker Buehler.
I feel re-energized now.
Yeah.
No, that was big. The yeah, I think the floor is lower. I think the ceiling is the play, and I'm happy that they went out and did this. But I'm also conflicted because you can just take the Buehler and Sandoval money and get Corbin Burnes, which is the better idea. Like, that's
too easy.
I don't want to disagree with Dan Perrault. They didn't sign Lucas Giolito though because they wanted him off of Tommy John. They signed him for the opposite. They signed him because they needed innings.
So Coley, when you say the floor is lower, are you going from where it was at the end of the year or entering last year? Like, what's your
from when we left the off season, or from when we left last season? Because yeah, I've seen a lot of people be like, well, we've got fucking Criswell and we've got Fitz and we've got Priester.
To me,
like,
I think
they were already on the team. That's not. They don't get credit this offseason for moves they didn't make this offseason.
No, but I think the depth of having, you didn't have Quinn Priester part of there. Hunter Dobbins hadn't reached, Triple A. Even Richard Fitz at that time last year, he was kind of where Dobbins was, right? He had barely got any time at Triple A. So it was like, can he succeed at the big league level to any degree? I think having those guys and then Kutter, Crawford, like as this arm, this versatile arm you could play between the rotation and bullpen. Like you go back to where you were at the end of last year where Cooper Criswell, I think they told you how they felt about him. They would prefer if he wasn't in the rotation pretty regularly.
He's a fine player.
But yeah, I look at Walker Buehler. I think he can at least give you Kutter Crawford production, like a 4.5
He
ERA.
didn't last year. Like he was
coming off Tommy John though, right? He wasn't himself.
Hold on. He hasn't been a good pitcher outside of the playoffs. He was dominant in the playoffs. No questions about that. I'm not down on the signing. I'm down on after you got Crochet. I thought you needed someone with more stability. They went with the ceiling play, which is fine. I'm not against the play, but so far all I've heard anyone else talk about is like this was tidy business, basically bringing back Pivetta and getting the pick as well, assuming he signs elsewhere. I haven't heard anyone be like, this is a good baseball move, because they don't know. It's a question mark. There's a reason the whole baseball world wasn't offering him multi-year deals at ace level, because they don't think he's an ace. They want to see him prove it. He's comfortable betting on himself, which is why I like Walker Buehler, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a guarantee. I think I've seen a lot of people say he has a longer track record than Crochet. I'm much higher on Crochet's ability coming into this year than I am Buehler's.
Yeah, I look at them in knowing that, say what you will about Garrett Crochet, while, it was only 140 innings last year, to have the likes of a Brian Bay, who now has a full season underneath his belt, to, go beyond that and kind of look at the entire rotation. Like Lucas Giolito, we know Lucas Giolito is going to be able to eat innings. He should at least be Nick Pivetta, right? Even if you go back to that final season there, that first half before the divorce and everything, he was pitching to a 3 ERA at that time. But I think you can at least say the floor is similar with the depth you now have in the overall system to support you.
But you've added guys with lower floors than you've lost, is why I can't say that.
I look at Walker Buehler's floor and I don't think he will be a 5 ERA pitcher.
Much lower.
I think similar to Kutter Crawford. I think it's in there. I think Pivetta's hard because you're going to get the innings. I think with Walker Buehler, I'm curious to see how that play. But even Nick Pivetta, it's a 4 ERA. Like that's what Nick
I'm not
Pivetta
saying
is.
I'm not pining.
I can see the argument for the floor, but I think at bare minimum it's similar. I wouldn't go lower than it was a year ago, because like you go to where you were a year ago and like what that rotation was at that time. You were considering starting Rich Hill.
I'm not focused. Yeah, that was bad and dumb, obviously. But over like the last 3 years, Pivetta's been a better pitcher than Walker Buehler. He just has. And I'm not saying I'd rather have him, because the ceiling's comfortably higher with Walker, much higher.
I think even if you go to 2022, though, right? Like that last season, it was a 4.02 ERA, 3.80 FIP. That's Nick Pivetta.
Sure. But he's been doing it for 3 straight years as opposed to someone who hasn't. That's why the floor is lower.
I just think Buehler coming back, I expect if he was sitting there and saying, I only want a 1-year deal, and the Red Sox were like, oh, well, you only take a 1-year deal, I'm all in. I think they see a floor for him that's at least that of, a 4 ERA, if not better.
I think they see a floor where it's a 1-year deal and they don't care if anything happens.
And then Kutter Crawford's
a 1-year deal, which I think is a bad way to go about business. Like we were saying with Bregman, I'd rather them be all in on somebody like a Burnes. There really isn't
Burnes, yes.
For
anyone else,
I'm not saying just any other pitcher. Like if you want to argue Buehler's a better play than Flaherty, I don't care. Like that's fine. That's a perfectly fine opinion to have, because it could be correct. I don't disagree with that. He's not going to be better than Corbin Burnes. And you basically just gave him and Patrick Sandoval the same money it would have cost to get Corbin Burnes. That I think's bad business.
But that's where you come to, and for them, it's not about AAV. I don't think that's ever the problem. It's about years 6 and 7, which if that's the way they want to operate, I don't agree with it, but then you better figure out an extension for Garrett Crochet right now, because there's no reason you won't immediately be aggressive on that end. If you're going to be so cautious, you won't hand out that deal. But to the same thing, we hear and spearheaded over the last couple of days, the Red Sox really wanted Max Fried. They were in on that. They were willing to give him $7,190. It's like, all right, so that guy fits what you want, but Corbin Burnes doesn't. I have a hard time understanding that outlook. Maybe they look at it and they're worried about Burnes and the strikeouts, and they knew Fried gets ground balls, but Corbin Burnes is pretty damn good at getting ground balls too.
Even though they had said they were going to add another starter, I was not sold at all that they were going to do it, especially before Christmas. So when that signing happens, and we had floated Buehler, honestly, in like September, or I think we had talked about him on this show a handful of months ago. But yeah, no, they needed, I feel like they needed more attitude in the rotation, and getting Crochet, getting Buehler definitely helps. I don't want to overrate the 10 innings that he was great in the postseason. I feel like people have mentioned that. And look, it's like he pitched basically one full length of a game and he was good. Understandable
weather.
Yeah, but I get that it does matter that, those outs are bigger than other outs you're going to get over the course of the year. But I like those innings because of what it meant to him and how it could mentally kind of reset what his 2024 was, clear it out. All right, I was on the mound to close out the World Series. What that means, I think, matters a lot more than whatever the innings length was during the playoffs that he was dominant. So then he can at least get over that hurdle of coming back from TJ, now enter a new season, bet on himself. There's a lot of, like, Coley, I totally get what you're saying. The floor versus the upside, like it's a wider range than it would be for Nick Pivetta. That's totally true. But I still like my biggest feeling when they signed him was like, oh, okay, we have another dog. We have another dude in the rotation, which they didn't have before. When we go to that probable pitchers list, I just want to feel like the Red Sox match up. Like, I want to feel like we at least have the names to match up with the other team's names.
Game.
Exactly.
Sure.
Like, at least now
that's where the depth is so much better this year.
It's huge. But we all look at that page all the time, right? Like that. Probable pitchers is one of the tabs that I have up through the entire season. The amount of times we've had fucking TBD, and now at least you have another guy in Buehler that if he reaches that upside or is near it, he can match up really well with whoever the other team's throwing behind, obviously now having Crochet at the top of the rotation. So I do really like the move, but of course you're hoping for it to be his best possible season this year.
Right. It's December. You're only looking at upside, and I'm trying to look at the whole picture, which pisses people off immediately, and I understand that, but it's not like I hate the company line going around is there's no such thing as a bad 1-year deal. Of course there is if it blocks you from making better deals. Like, it's a bad idea. I just would rather see that money used. Like, even Sandoval, if we want to talk about him, the ceiling is the ceiling's low there. And unless the Red Sox are going to start playing in the WBC exclusively, then he's our ace, because he was nasty for Mexico.
That's the best possible way to say T. You bum.
Like, I get the idea. I get that Alex Cobb's getting overpaid. I don't think next offseason we're going to see the type of spend we've seen this season. Like, I just don't foresee that when I look at baseball as a whole. They don't like to have multiple offseasons. You've already seen the spending come to a slowdown after the winter meetings. Like, they're already going, do we really want to spend money? Every team, not just the Red Sox. It's kind of how they all feel.
Where do we think Burnes is going now? Because the options do seem slim. He's not coming here.
Yeah, he's going to settle. He'll go where he wants to go. He'll be close to home with the Giants.
Toronto or the Giants? No. Yeah.
Nope.
Yes. No one's going to take Toronto's money.
Toronto. He would already have taken it.
If you're an East Coast team, you are going to have to pay significantly more to sign Corbin Burnes than a West Coast team. And
he might get 300 regardless, right? It kind of feels like he's going to be floating around there.
I don't know, because I don't know. Suitors are kind of looking at it as, all right, fine.
They're going to get some leverage the longer this goes. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just, look at other options. Like, the Red Sox are one of those teams. They were in on Corbin Burnes, and wasn't there a report, I don't know, 3 weeks ago about how they were going to put together an offer for Burnes, and then since then they've traded for Garrett Crochet and signed Walker Buehler and haven't been linked to Burnes since? Eventually that's going to happen to other teams.
I think it's going to be some rant. Like, remember when the Diamondbacks signed Madison Bumgarner? Like, I feel like it's going to be something weird like that. It's a team that's not currently attached to him.
Yeah, would not be surprised at all. A team that realizes we have no one to put on the program at all. Like we have we have no one to put on our posters. Like we got to get somebody, and they look up and it's like late January. That wouldn't be surprising at all.
No, like he could be an angel. That wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. Where is he from? He's California?
Yeah.
He's from
I know that's a small state.
He is from Bakersfield.
Oh, not related, but you brought up California. Did you guys talk about the Sacramento A's at all last episode? Because if you're looking for Yoshida's landing spot, it's them. They desperately need to add money so that they can get the full revenue share. I'm sure Dallas has talked about this with Jared. It's the easiest place to send them if a team, they're begging to add salary. They've already tried to sign guys. They have signed some guys. I don't know if they're capable of signing anyone else. Like they've had to overpay to get guys to go to Sacramento. Masataka Yoshida would love Sacramento.
Definitely never letting him touch that outfield there.
Well, we'll just put it in I'll put it in Dallas's head that it would be great. Send him that Yoshida propaganda. He's dumb enough to listen to that and be like, "Oh, we gotta get Yoshida." He'll do it. He'll make it happen.
He'd be awesome in Sacramento.
Oh,
genuinely. Remember when we traded Josh Reddick there and everyone was furious that we didn't keep Josh Reddick? As if that somehow like folded the franchise here.
no. Was he in the Andrew Bailey deal?
Yes.
Who was it? Like Josh Reddick and like Brandon Moss?
Sounds about right.
I think there was a third player in that deal.
I think so.
Josh Reddick, you're looking it up, T?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Is Brandon Moss correct?
No, that was the Jason Bay trade, if I recall correctly, right? 3-team?
No.
I thought Brandon Moss was part of the Jason Bay trade. No?
He ended
Why don't
up
we
in
focus on
fucking
this trade
Oakland
first?
Yes, the Josh Reddick trade. The A's got Josh Reddick and Miles Heed, and then we got Ryan Sweeney along with Andrew Bailey.
What?
Remember Ryan Sweeney?
I do, yeah. He punched the door and fucking ended his season. The Red Sox traded.
Wasn't it Brandon Moss, Jason Bay?
Brandon Moss, yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
I just remember always watching Brandon Moss and wishing he was on the Red Sox. I did the same thing with Josh Reddick, too.
Was traded as part of a 3-team trade by the Boston Red Sox with Craig Hansen to the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Dodgers sent Andy LaRoche and Brian Morris to the Pirates. The Pirates sent Jason Bay to the Red Sox. The Red Sox sent Manny Ramirez to the Dodgers.
Boom.
Craig Hansen was in the Manny trade? Craig Hansen was supposed to be the truth back then.
Oh, next closer.
Yeah, they were like Craig Hansen, Daniel Bard, Jonathan Papelbon. Just
Lights
you guys
out.
are never gonna have to worry about we're playing 6-inning games, fellas. and then we had Okie Dokie, so it was really like, what do you want? Don't even get me started on Clay Meredith. I think Clay Meredith is a firefighter now or something. Clay Meredith has like a normal person job. Clay Meredith, what's he up to?
Good job. Yeah.
He's a firefighter?
Henrico firefighter.
Good for him.
I never knew he spells it CLA. It
Claw.
just ends there. Claw.
Yeah, that
All I
was,
see is Chase
that was
Mydra.
that was known in the day because everyone called him Claw.
Okay.
Claw
Not by
Meredith.
me. Claw Meredith.
Well, now you can't make money. He's saving lives. Come on.
Firefighter. You know.
He's every
Richmond,
first
Virginia.
grader's dream, a baseball playing firefighter. Like there's nothing better.
Yeah, which reminds me of like a story that's kind of sad now for me, or us. but Dalton Furbush.
Oh,
Fulmer.
When we had Dalton Furbush on the pod and he was blowing 99 for TCU, and we were like, "What's your walkout song going to be when you make your debut for the Red Sox?" And he said, "The Fireman," the little Wayne song. And that day is not coming.
No.
At least not.
We
with the
thought
Red
he was
Sox.
going to be the closer in like 2019. We thought he
Yeah,
was coming
dude.
up.
We were
Everybody
talking
next
about
year.
fucking
They thought he was
calling him up
coming
the year he got drafted.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
They should have. I don't know.
Did
Especially
they
with an
draft
arm
Furbush
like
in
that.
18? Was it 18?
19 maybe.
I think it was 19.
Yeah, 19.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we thought he was going to be up there immediately. It might have been 18.
It might have been 18 because we
No.
interviewed him at 19.
We interviewed
him right after Chris Sale threatened my life.
Yeah. We did
Yeah.
interview him in 18. Yeah.
Round
Wow.
3, 2018.
Oh, so it was
Mr.
him,
Devin Feldman.
Nick Decker,
Right.
Triston
and
Casas.
Casas.
Yeah.
Real drafting right there.
Telling
That
you.
Ward. Duran was in that draft, 7th round.
18?
Yep.
Damn.
Chase Shugart.
All right. you can
Uh-oh,
stop.
we're getting T going on.
Hey, listen.
We
Listen.
should stop this right
He
now.
pitched on the big league team last year.
Calm down, T.
Calm down there, T.
T. He gets excited.
He does.
A little bit.
Yeah. Chase, your boy Chase Maydroth. I'm confused on his pronunciation too, because I've heard Chase Maydroth.
I've always heard Maydroth.
I've heard Maydroth.
That's interesting. It wouldn't
Yeah.
shock me. We see how it comes. Wilyer, they were calling him Wilger
Wilger.
until he got up to the big leagues.
Yeah.
It's like, this is
Well, it
not
doesn't
how my
matter
name's
'cause
pronounced.
He's gone now. I will give T credit though, because talking to people in the Red Sox organization, there's people that listen to Section 10 and they get excited when Coley and T are name dropping prospects before they reach like the real limelight, before they reach that top 10 and everyone's talking their household names within the Red Sox. If T or Coley name drop a prospect, there's people in the organization that are like, we got something here.
When I in October, I think I called Campbell the number 1 prospect over Anthony, and I had people within the organization very quietly be like, "We agree." And
Yeah.
it's not a thing they really broadcast, but it was very funny that they were like, "Yeah, we've been thinking that too." And if they're talking about adding Bregman at second and putting Campbell in left, it certainly feels like they're acting that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause that's also that's a good point to make here is, let's say the Red Sox don't sign Alex Bregman. It will be perceived by the fan base as John Henry's cheap and didn't want to spend the money, when in reality, it could be we just believe in Christian Campbell and Roman Anthony and want to have spots open, and that we feel like this is the better team with them on it and giving them the path to have whatever 500 plate appearances, whatever it is. That could be, I mean, I'm sure there's some people listening that'll be like, well, that's bullshit. And you're just saying that to defend the team and you carry the team's water and blah, blah, blah. But there is a line of thinking where that's not only just a logical way to look at it, but it could be the correct way to look at it.
Well, but they might not also fully believe in that, It might just be a scale of like, how much does Bregman want? Okay, yeah, now we believe a little more in Christian Campbell. Like, I'm sure it goes both ways there, where depending on how much money it's going to cost them to get somebody like Bregman, they'd be okay with the alternative in-house, which is going to surprise nobody. But to your point, that can still be the right move and the cheaper move. People never really give that, part of it credit, where it's like, no, this could be the right move and cost you less. Like, that is possible. But of course, they don't get the benefit of the doubt with how little money they've spent.
Well,
They
you play the
can't
game with
get-
Roman Anthony and Campbell, and it's like you get both of those guys on your opening day roster. I think there's some scariness to it in the fact that you're going to have 2 guys learning at the big league level. If there should be 2 guys who can do it, you would think it'd be them 2. But if one of them wins Rookie of the Year, you're getting that pick after the first round that completely, could change a whole draft for an organization. And say what you will, if you're that high on Campbell or Anthony, they win something in the next 3 years. You have that as a possibility with the MVP or whatever. But I think if you add a Bregman, to me personally, it makes it a lot easier to kind of work through those thoughts and say, hey, could you have 2 rookies in the starting lineup on opening day? You got Bregman in there, you got that veteran in the middle. It's like the lineup should anchor. If you don't have that, then it feels like a lot, but then you're factoring in a Wilyer or Abreu trade at the bare minimum, and you're starting to move a lot of other pieces around. But you could have Campbell and Anthony left and right. to start the year. You would just have to find a way to do something with Wilyer Abreu and Ceddanne Rafael learn the bench.
I think to Jared's point, they are talking about Bregman at second in case it doesn't happen so that they don't piss off Devers for no reason. I don't think Alex Bregman would come here to play second. If they actually do that
hypothetically, Bregman would be open to playing second base.
Sure, I know he's open to it. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm closed.
I'm just guessing.
Personally, I'm closed.
Yeah, I'm just
the idea.
I'm throwing some shit against the wall, hoping it sticks. But I think if you asked him, like, would you play second base on this team? He'd probably be like, yeah.
Sure.
Again, complete guess, complete hypothetical.
That's your best, in my opinion. I think that's the highest ceiling you can have for the team next year is to do that with what you have at your disposal right now.
Yeah.
If you put Bregman at second and say you can't move Devers off of third base yet, you still have Triston Casas at first, you have Yoshida on the books, and you can put Campbell on left and Anthony in right, it feels like not only that lineup is going to be terrifying for other teams to face, you should still have good enough defense. I'm not going to sit here and say, Devers' defense at third base is going to cost you that much. You'll be fine. As long as Trevor Story can stay healthy up the middle, you should be fine. And guess what? If he can't, you have someone who can actually step up this year to play the position that's done it before. But if you got a healthy Trevor Story, there was no one here telling you the Red Sox infield defense was a disaster after he came back last year. There's no one having that conversation.
I would hate moving Campbell to the outfield specifically because we know Story is not going to stay healthy.
I don't know. I'm not in that camp where I know he's going to get hurt. His injuries here, his shoulder snapped when he dove, and he snapped his hand getting hit by a pitch.
He swung a pitch that was going to hit him.
Yes, facts, D.
No, but that's it. That's all I'm saying. The heel thing when he stepped on the bag weird and they shut him down for the last 3 days of the year, whatever. But for Trevor Story,
the hand one was 1,000% his. He swung at a pitch that was going to hit him in the back.
Yeah, it's also not his fault that the Red Sox medical team was so inept that they blew multiple weeks trying to say, oh, no, he's fine. He's going to come off the IL. And then the day he was supposed to come off, they go, oh, no, it's fractured.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to prolong it. I don't know that was ineptitude.
But no, they definitely weren't. At the time, that was a major blow to find out he wasn't coming back that day. Like, that's one of those situations. So for me, it's like, there's an option here because if you can plug Bregman in at second base, your infield defense will improve. And it's just for 1 year, and then all the options are on the table, whether it's putting him at third base a year from now, you want to put Campbell at second, you can trade Casas if you want Vladdy, if you want to be one of those people. It gives you the flexibility, and it makes you a better team right now.
If they are genuinely worried about letting Rafael Devers know that he's got to be a DH, and they just want to start him at third base this year, and they sign Alex Bregman and make him the second baseman, and then let's say Raffy gets dinged up, and they give him some more days off than normal and have him DH more, then that can be a way to ease into it too, where you put Bregman at third. Look, this is such a better life for you. We have a Gold Glove third baseman that can play there, a veteran, the leader of the team. He's at the hot corner. You're great as a DH. Sometimes you have to ease people into these situations that are technically career-altering, but it's career-altering in a way that's going to benefit Devers. So I wouldn't be stunned if... Right now, it feels like most probable situation is Raffy starting at third base this year. And then if maybe they ease him into that DH role, that could make the most sense. Yoshida stays. Yoshida's still going to be a thing,
It's figuring out
obviously.
the Yoshida situation. If you can't find a way to figure that out right now, this lets you get better and you can kick the can down the road for a year without hurting your team's ability and giving yourself a ton of versatility.
You guys ever play kick the can growing up?
I kick cans all the time. Kick rock.
What do you do, Tyler?
You never cans? So like I go out for walks sometimes to clear my head, and I'll find a good rock, a nice shaped rock, and I'll kick it up and down the road.
What's the top thing you're clearing your head about, D?
I like how he pitched it like he invented it. He's like, yeah, sometimes I got to catch it.
I'm the guy that goes for walks and clears my head. No one does this, but I started this. This is a
Give
new
it a
trend.
shot. It works.
Yeah, you kick cans and you clear your head. That's what you do.
When
you
I'm stressed about like something with the Red Sox, I'll talk it out to myself as I'm walking.
As with the
down
Red Sox?
road.
I thought it was like real life stuff. It's the Red Sox. Okay,
that stuff's
we
easy.
should have known. We should have known.
Yeah. But like when I'm having the Bregman second base conversation, I'm like trying to make it work. I feel like I've spent so much friggin' time like trying to make sense of it and trying to understand how all the pieces could fit.
It's not that hard.
It's a way. It's a pathway. If you could get Yoshida off the books and just move him to third and Devers is happy moving off, I'm open to that too. The contract does make me uncomfortable.
Even if he's not happy, even if he's just okay with it, like that's fine. Like this is not going to be a perfect situation. I think that's the part that we need to get over. It's not going to be the smoothest fit ever, but just get used to it.
There's a way to keep everyone happy right now, though, and that's this way.
Instead of going for walks, T, have you ever tried BetterHelp?
No, I haven't. Tell me more about it.
Well, this podcast, Section 10, is actually sponsored by BetterHelp.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you're someone that's obviously like, yeah, I need to clear my head. I've got some stuff going on. I'm stressed out. I need to vent. There's things that are bothering me. I don't know who to talk to. I don't have anyone to talk to. Sounds like BetterHelp could be for you. It sounds like you could benefit from BetterHelp, which is great because they're a friend of the show. They're sponsoring today's podcast, which we are very thankful for. I am an online therapy guy, as you know, T.
Proud of you.
Been an online therapy guy for going on 7 years now. After being an in-person therapy guy, made the leap, made the jump. It's kind of forced because it was COVID. Kind of had to. Yes, T?
What's the biggest difference between BetterHelp and when you were in person doing therapy that way?
I would say in person, I was probably more reluctant to say things because it's more intimate being in person versus talking to a screen, but there is a person there. I feel like you are, I'm less guarded with online therapy. Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah. Like you just let it rip when it's online versus in person. Because in person, I'm like, do I go here? Do I not? You know? It's one of those things. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find comfort this December, T, with BetterHelp. And how are you going to do that? Well, it's an easy question. It's an easy answer. You're going to do that by visiting betterhelp.com/rocket. And if you do that today, you get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rocket. Thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's podcast. All right. Do you want to talk Patrick Sandoval? Actually, before we move on to Sandoval, I'm not doing this to bust your balls, T. We're going to talk Patrick Sandoval. I want to pose the question to you guys. How do you feel about Kutter Crawford being the odd man out now that Buehler's been added? Are you okay with that? Is that a foregone conclusion? Are you entertaining the idea that he could crack the rotation anyway, somehow, somewhere? What are your thoughts on the Red Sox rotation coming out of spring training? And give me your order. Like, what's it look like to you? What's your 1 through 5?
One thing I'll say on Crawford, I don't think he minds. I'm sure every starter wants to stay in the rotation, but I've asked Kutter about this before, about like the difference between the bullpen and the starter thing. And I think he genuinely means it when he says like, yeah, I just want to help the team win and pitch in any, scenario that I can. He probably feels a type of way about it. Jerry?
I know you guys interviewed him on ITM a couple of years ago. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because I would venture to guess maybe he would have a different response
coming off of this season,
putting up 30 fair. Starts. Yeah.
No, 100%. That's what I was just going to say. Like, I'm sure he feels a type of way about it now that he made 30 starts and he proved that he can be a full season starter. But no, I don't know if it. Again, you're also, if you're going to pitch for the Red Sox and a team that's trying to compete for the playoffs and really be a legitimate contender, I think he's a very self-aware pitcher. I'll put it that way. Even though he can make 30 starts, I think he understands if they're adding more guys, okay, maybe I am eventually going to be the odd man out here. But we see injuries happen all the time. He could be right back in that rotation. So I'm not really thinking anything too drastic either way.
I feel like I wouldn't rule out a trade with Kutter Crawford still. As we saw, there was a little smoke there with the Mariners about him potentially being an option if they were to go after Luis Castillo, whoever it may be. But you go back to when Alex Cora first saw Kutter Crawford, spring training 2022, he fell in love with him as a reliever. He thought he was going to be this guy, late game, 7th inning, 8th inning with higher 90s velocity that could kind of be a game changer. And he started the year on the opening day roster kind of went all off the rails very quickly. But if he'd be willing to play a role here of some type of swingman, I think you can make a conversation for Lucas Giolito at times coming off elbow surgery. He's going to need a breather here. Walker Buehler hasn't thrown a full season, right? Coming off, 16 starts the year prior. Garrett Crochet, while the collar's off, how do you kind of want to protect him? There might be a spot here for him to get some starts as the season goes along. But I think if the Red Sox are trying to walk this line of, maybe we don't want to pour a ton of money into Jeff Hoffman or something like this, Kutter Crawford might be a nice middle ground where you get him and a Kirby Yates, and all of a sudden you have a bullpen that is lights out and can go head to head with almost anyone as long as your closer situation figures itself out between Hendriks and Slayton. But I think he is the sixth starter right now. I think you talk what happened at the end of last year. He was very bad after he got over the 100 inning mark. The homers were a significant problem when you're making history. That does stand out a little bit. And that's not to say Kutter Crawford isn't a big league starter. I think he's a back end arm, but this is kind of the depth that you haven't had in a long time. So if you don't have to force a trade, let him and Giolito battle it out in camp. Maybe something clicks one way or the other, but Giolito's got to be my number 5 right now. I think his combination of, being able to eat innings, I think there's still some upside there, and the money they have invested in him. I can't imagine them telling Giolito to go pitch out of the bullpen. That feels pretty unlikely at this point.
No, they're not. But I look at he and Giolito was kind of the same.
Same tier, right?
Last healthy season, he led the league in home runs yielded, and he did it for 3 different teams that year. So yeah, I would ideally, like we talked coming into the offseason, we would love if Houck was our number 3. Like that would be unbelievable. Because then you're talking about Bayo as your 4, whoever is your 5. Right now, Houck still has to be the 2. Buehler has the ceiling of a 1. If that's what you're depending on, I feel like you've built a pretty faulty foundation. So I would look at Crochet 1, Houck 2, Bayo 3, Buehler 4, and Kutter 5. Like I don't know that Giolito's even going to be ready for opening day.
There was something out there a couple days ago. Yeah, it was Craig Breslow, Andrew Bailey saying that he's been down at Fort Myers and he should be full go by the time spring training comes around. So I think he'll be in there. But yeah, I don't simply look at it and say, if you look at what Giolito was, 4.88 ERA, 5.27 FIP in 2023. If you believe who he was with the White Sox, it was a 3.79 ERA. Yeah, so it's let those two battle it out. I just think the writing will be on the wall with Crawford, pretty clearly. Unless I absolutely dominate this guy, then I'm going to probably be in the bullpen.
I'm still fine going a 6-man rotation, because I also view Kutter. If you can kind of just pick and choose when he's starting, I think he can dominate bad teams and kind of gets lit up against good teams. The reason I don't even love him as a reliever, unless that velo's really going to come up, too many long balls. Like that's not what I need out of a guy coming in a high leverage spot, just giving up a blast.
Based on his experience so far, he's shown you he can kind of get thrown into any situation and have a decent chance at success. Different than most pitchers would in that situation. So one of the biggest takeaways in the Kutter and just the rotation situation is that Breslow constantly talks about wanting to have more depth and more options and can't have enough starters. That's why it would feel weird to trade Kutter Crawford to me, because he has a lot of value if you're going to try to have a fill-in for someone like Giolito coming off the surgery, Buehler coming off surgery. Like that's his biggest value to the team, is that he's going to be able to fill in for guys that, who knows, we talk about the floor and the ceiling. I agree Buehler's ceiling is a 1, but his floor is like a 0. His floor is not pitching for the team. So there's not even being on the roster. So I think Kutter obviously he helps a lot in a lot of different areas.
I said good point, Steve.
Hey, thank you, Jerry. He helps a lot in a lot of different areas, and it matters to me a lot that he doesn't seem like someone that's going to make a fuss about it, because not everybody would handle the situation like that. He also has 3 more years of control left. So if he's in that situation this year, that's not a guarantee he'd be in that situation next year. He could earn a more permanent spot in the rotation and prove further to whatever the team is that hopefully he can get a big contract with in 2028, whenever the hell that would be. That, look, I've succeeded as the long inning guy. I've succeeded as a bullpen guy, as a starter. Of course, the home runs have to come down, but I think there's a lot to be excited about with Kutter Crawford this year.
Cool.
Can I pitch my craziest idea to date?
Oh God!
Then the Devers
7-man
one
rotation.
It's past the Devers one?
We signed 162 pitches. No. I've been on a lot of flights lately. Like Tyler, I'm constantly thinking of ways to build, like all of us, build this team. Although not Steve. Steve likes it when someone else builds it and brings it.
Oh,
to him,
I
and he
love
goes,
it.
There's a team.
Yeah,
No, not
team
even
looks
us.
good.
I'm saying the Red Sox when they do it. That's when you actually do love it.
Mhm.
But we agree they're not going to give Tanner Houck a contract, even though they tried to last year because they just wanted. They wanted
I think they'll
something
talk.
signed.
I think
they'll talk, sure. But what if we made him Derek Lowe? And I mean that in the true essence of Derek Lowe's whole career, because right now I view Tanner Houck as a guy who was an unbelievable starter last year. That's not how I first remember Derek Lowe. I remember him as a closer and an all-star closer, if I remember correctly. And we're looking at this bullpen right now, and it's like, do we have someone to close down the back end? We have options. I think Tanner Houck would legitimately be maybe the best closer in baseball for a couple of years and then can come back to the rotation. But I think he would only do that with financial security. And I understand why the team wouldn't even want to do this. But if he had long-term financial security, because that's why I think Kutter would be, he's got 3 years of control, but he's looking at the money starters are getting right now. I would much rather get that money than Jeff Hoffman and guys like that who can't get the team to commit to a multi-year deal. Right? Tanner Scott's still available at last check. I don't know why, other than pure cowardice, but bad starters are getting money that good relievers can't even come close to. So that's where it's like, 3 years, cool. I really don't want to do that. If they gave Tanner Houck a contract, said, hey, these next 3 years, you're going to be a closer and you're going to be the best in baseball,
I think he'd be out.
I would love that.
I don't disagree. I used to be someone, and people still chirp me on it. I was a Tanner Houck closer guy for a long time. Felt like everyone was until the last season started and played out that way. But he's talked about how much being a starter has meant to his identity and to who he is, and how through all the ups and downs when people didn't believe he was going to start and when he was in the bullpen and they were playing these different roles, he's like, I always saw myself as a starter. I always wanted to be that. It's why I was constantly playing around with my arsenal and doing those things. I feel like trying to convince him to go into a closer role. I don't know if disrespectful
without
is the
the
right
money,
word.
he wouldn't do it.
Oh,
It's
definitely
the
not.
money.
You're costing me. But I think even with that, he'd say like, I want to be a starter. Like
And because
last year,
of the
I went
money
to the
is why he
all-star
wants
team
to
as
be
your
a
starter.
Right, that's why it's the money. That's the
I think
only
It's
it's
not
reason.
like I
too.
just
I think
feel
he
it
takes
in my
pride in
blood
being-
that I'm
See?
meant to be a starter. It's
I
like
think
his
it's
bank
both.
account's like, be a starter, you moron. Like that's
Yeah, without a doubt, the money's the first thing. But I also think for him, being a starter means something. Being that guy that kind of leads
pride
it in the
thing matters.
rotation. I think
Yeah.
all of that is important to him.
I think
I
it's
feel like you'd be
also-
asking for a disaster to try and be like, dude, we're going to set up these escalators in this contract.
No,
but
I wouldn't do
you're
it
gonna
that
go
way.
close.
That's doing it like an asshole. I would do it like, here's financial security, life-changing money. You're going to be our closer, and then you're going to start after that. Like that. Our long-term plan is for you to close for 10 years.
So are you working with the assumption, Coley, do you view Tanner Houck as a guy who could post a 3.5 ERA next year? Or do you think he's
I
worse
think he
than
could
that?
easily be their number 2 next year.
But that's even
not a
tougher
question
to
of that.
explain than with Cutter, right? Like, no offense to Cutter. I don't see him posting a
I'm not
mid-3
doing it
ERA.
for Cutter. I'm not doing it for that. I would be doing that if I were still pursuing another starter as well.
Okay, I got you.
I can't believe that Tanner Scott's still out there, by the way.
That's crazy.
So is Jeff Hoffman.
I know, but I feel
Just
like
as
Scott
good,
make it-
just as
if Scott-
nasty.
If Scott makes it to the new year, that's wild. I would have never guessed that.
Scott's got more clout.
It's a lefty who throws nasty stuff, but also doesn't know where it's going half the time. That terrifies me.
Hoffman was out of baseball 3 years ago. Like, I don't.
Yeah, Tanner Scott sells
That's-
more tickets to the concert.
Talking about Jeff Hoffman, people are like, no, I think he could start. People are having that conversation with him because
That's where the money is.
Rockies
Yeah.
days.
Got a
Everyone's
contract.
signing relievers to be starters because it happened. Like people did it last year and there was success doing it, and it's like, oh, this is just a cheaper option.
Yep. I also
Really
think,
odd.
though, with Hoffman, like you're talking a guy who misses bats and doesn't walk those guys. That speaks to me.
Yeah, think about that for a second. Like if you're everything that you guys just said about how the money is in starting, and if there's guys on the market that are relievers, you're stroking their ego by saying, we believe that you can start for us. Would you like to start? Yeah. All right, cool. We're going to pay you to do that for us. We're not going to pay you like a proven starter because you're not. So it's like they could look at all these under the hood numbers and the fucking baseball savant and say, yeah, like we think this guy can start if he goes into a winter preparing to start for, whatever, 30 games. And then you're just getting a bargain out of that. If you're correct, if you hit on that. And a lot of teams last year, they did hit on that. So I think we're just seeing another cycle of that with like, oh, Clay Holmes. Like, here's a guy that's
cheap owners. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And it's like telling
Jordan Hicks was fine. He wasn't electric. He was fine.
Well, it was fun when his velocity was like looking like when he was in relief, and then he quickly realized, holy fuck, I can't maintain this or my elbow's going to explode. But it's also to these relievers, it's like going up to the, average girl in your school and be like, you were always the pretty one. You were always number one. That's what all these relievers are. They all wanted to be a starter. They all wanted to lead the top of the rotation and do that kind of thing. So when a team approaches them and says, hey, we look at you in that way, it's the dream thing they want to hear. It's path to money and the path to doing what they actually grew up and imagined themselves doing. Mm-hmm. No one wants to be a seventh inning arm.
No, but I think closer is much different.
A little different.
Yeah. I'd rather be a dominant closer than like a number 4.
Big time.
MLB value wise would disagree, but contract wise, definitely.
Yes and no. Hader got 95 last year. Diaz got 100 the year before that.
Yeah.
Like a truly dominant closer will still get that kind of money.
Yeah. But even like you talk like a Nick Pivetta, right? Like someone who's like that 4 or 5, you expect him to get something like 3 years, like 60, like 4 years, 80.
Well,
like
he could get the Manaya deal.
Ugh.
Yeah. Have we considered Pivetta?
What Pivetta gets?
We don't get the pick for Pivetta. Have we?
I think Pivetta's entering that territory.
If he doesn't sign.
The Orioles
that's going to
are
be a big reason why a team would sign him, maybe not sign him. Like, we got to give this up for Nick Pivetta.
If he didn't have the QO attached, the Orioles would have given him 4 years or 5 years already.
He would have signed by now.
Twice.
1,000% would have signed by now. But you're like, we're going to give up pick 2?
Not sure.
What's he going to do? Retire?
No, you just wait for the draft, and then the pick goes away, and he would sign for the second half of the season.
Like, that'll do it for me. That's a good career. I don't need to keep pitching.
Someone will blow their arm out in spring training, and he'll sign that deal.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't worry about the pick as much when you literally don't have a rotation. So
Sure.
I don't know where he goes.
No,
somewhere he'll sign with the Blue Jays. Will get some team like
Mr. Canada.
The 100%. Blue Jays will give him $150 million because at some point they're just gonna say someone has to take our money. Someone, and who better than the Canadian pitcher? Because everyone else is like, yeah, I just don't want to live in Canada. It's not like an East Coast, West Coast thing. Like, I just don't want to live in Canada. Okay, fine. What about the Canadian guy? Where do you want to live? Oh, I like Canada. Yeah, I'm from Canada. All right, cool. We're going to have to pay a premium. So how about we give you a 3-year, $160 million contract?
Give him 53 a year.
Yeah.
I also have a
we got our guy.
The Rockies are just going to show up here and throw down $120 million. Like just out of nowhere,
why
not a single
dude?
rumor. They're gonna like, fuck it, we'll take Nick Pivetta. He's gonna give up 50 homers here. We don't give a fuck. He's gonna pitch 250 innings.
There is something to be said about like when there's money you've already in your mind spent, you're giving it to somebody. Like anything, if we get like a bonus check or anything, it's like, all right, well, I'm buying something for myself. It doesn't matter if I don't need it or not. That's Nick Pivetta. Some team's gonna look at it like that and like, okay. Here you go. Here's your 60. Or sorry, here's your 150 million.
The Blue Jays. They make so much sense. They are
too much sense.
I go on radio in Toronto all the time, and those fans, oh my God. They're done. They're done with the bullshit. And the team has to be feeling that to some degree, where it's like, man,
you missed your window.
We've got to sign something. Not even somebody, something. We have to bring in something to this team.
You could do that, like, I'm coming home. You could do that whole montage. You could get that out of
Is he even
Pivetta.
from Toronto? Where is he from in Canada?
Canada.
I don't think it's even there.
British Columbia.
He's from, like, not Toronto. I don't think he's from that area.
No.
Canada is from Victoria.
Huge.
Yeah, so I smoked
Victoria, Texas. That's where Stone Cold Steve Austin's from. Victoria, Canada? Where is that on
Victoria
the map,
Falls?
British Columbia.
Good job, Coley.
Victoria, Canada.
Oh,
that's got to be
a 42-hour drive.
Oh,
that's like by Vancouver. That's by Washington.
West Coast guy.
Like you can come.
That's like saying like you grew up in whatever, like San Diego, and he's coming home to Boston. Like it's not even close.
It's probably. I'm just guesstimating here, but like it's very close to Seattle. And Toronto's close to New York. So it's like
Toronto's above New York, and this is above Washington. Like these are not even close.
Canada. It's Canada, but it's a little bit different.
He's coming home to North America. Like what are we talking about?
That's
here?
like if I signed with the Buffalo Bills and they played the I'm coming home thing, and I'm really from Seattle.
Oh, the LA Chargers would be the same thing. Yeah.
We got him. We got our guy.
He's home.
He's home.
He's home now.
Hometown hero.
Yeah. Like, okay, you Canadian? All right. You're from Toronto.
I could picture him in Detroit too. I feel like he could go to Detroit and put up like not Jack Flaherty, but like diet Jack Flaherty year.
It's a literal 6-hour flight. Yeah, this is going from here to LA. There's no.
I can picture him in the hat. I can picture him in a Tigers hat.
And you go there, you don't give up as many homers. It probably helps you out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm. 8 innings.
They're not moving any walls in.
I mean, he couldn't live farther from Toronto.
Not even close to Toronto. Not even close. And we've definitely posted graphics like Canada Day. Here's Nick Pivetta. Not even close to Toronto.
Mm-mm.
It's closer than Boston. He's inching closer.
He's inching, yeah. Yeah, he'd be coming home if he signed with the Mariners. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, yeah, I see the fit. Hometown hero Nick Pivetta coming back to the Jays, where it all started. Where he grew up going as a
Toronto, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
They are on San Diego Padres time right now, where they're like, someone's taking this wad of cash. Like, we don't
100%.
really care who at this point. Someone's getting the Xander contract.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying, like,
sure,
Xander Bogaerts was going to get, what, 140 from the Red Sox? And then the Padres are like, okay, boom, 280. They just said double the years, double the money.
Peter Seidler was dying. That's all he wanted.
That's why Nick Pivetta, Nick Pivetta is going to get 6 years, $240 million from the Toronto. They're like, we've had it. We've got to sign a person that's played in the big leagues before.
That'd be very funny.
240. What would that do to the Corbin Burnes market?
It
just retires after Burnes. It has to happen after.
Mm.
Yeah, Pivetta signing for 240 before Burnes goes. He's like, we can get 450. Can we get $500 million?
Corbin would be ecstatic. He'd be the happiest.
Yeah, that does change the market a little.
The other agents would be like, are you fucking kidding me? Or the other owners rather, like, what did you do?
Well, whose market did Bogart's contract really impact? They're like, oh, Bogart's got 280, then I'm actually worth 450.
Teams were like, we may never hand out another serious contract again if someone like Xander's getting money like that.
Yeah.
When did Trey sign?
Before, because they tried to pay Trey. They tried to pay Judge, Trey. Who else was that offseason? It was a bunch of people.
It was those
all
three.
kind of happened at the winter
Xander.
meetings. Yeah. Because Xander's was the last thing that happened at the winter meetings, because then all we heard about was Heim like longingly staring out the window at the airport, like, maybe I'll just kill myself. Like, that's every article that came out the next day.
We did get
like the opposite version.
Sponsoring today's podcast. BetterHelp.com/rocket. Yeah, that was outrageous. I still can't believe it. I thought at the time, I was like, is this the new norm? My video with the cigarettes in my mouth reacting to it was still not appropriate for how absurd that deal was.
Crazy.
11 for 280 is outrageous.
It's insane.
Outrageous.
I'm so happy for him.
I'm so happy for Xander. Like, As a human being, he's worth $280 million. But for the life of that contract, man, are they going to have... I mean, I'm sure they're already experiencing it to a big...
They're trying to trade him.
Right.
Yeah.
They moved him off shortstop like immediately.
Moved him back.
But again,
it's
the opposite end of the spectrum of what happened with Chris Sale. Chris Sale gets traded to Atlanta. He wins the Cy Young immediately. If he had stayed in Boston, does he win the Cy Young? No, I don't believe so. He needed the change of scenery. Xander Bogaerts, he did not need the change of scenery. Like, is Xander Bogaerts still a good baseball player if he stays here? Yeah, I believe he is. But
he's had stretches where he's been solid, but you can tell he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
He didn't have a choice.
We've talked about second base a lot for this team. We've talked about right-handed hitting. Ha-Seong Kim is just sitting out there.
I agree. I am with you, Coley.
It's crazy that A, no one else has signed him. B, that the Red Sox haven't been connected to him at all. He makes the most sense he makes way more sense than Bregman. He makes way more sense than Gleyber Torres if you want someone who can field the ball. We tried to trade Tanner Houck for him for years.
I was about to say, last offseason, right? Really, the last 2 off seasons, that's been like the constant connection over there. The only thing for him is he's hurt, so he's not going to be back until probably like May, June-ish, it seems.
Perfect. That's when Story goes down. So he steps right into shortstop, and we just keep it moving.
Yeah, that's elite defender, multiple positions. Trevor Story does go down. He would be the perfect guy to step in and give you similar value. Swing made for Fenway, pull power to the left side, like... I wouldn't hate that
what's
at all.
The power? I mean, he's like averages like 13 homers a year, right? I mean,
he hit 11 last year and 121. He hit 17 the year before and 152.
You could argue that Campbell could just give you that power production in his first year, right?
Maybe, but you would be getting the defense is where his value is going to play. He's going to play one of the best shortstops if you need it, but that's where Trevor Story comes in. They're serving the same role, unfortunately.
Yeah,
league average bat with elite defense.
I am all in on Campbell, but they seem intent on signing someone to play second and blocking Campbell or moving him to the outfield for reasons I don't understand.
I think it factors into the Devers thing in that conversation and how they can't speak to that. And with Yoshida still on the books at the DH spot, it's like we only have so many spots we can say out loud that don't upset someone else or cause problems. And we'll say this one because Christian Campbell, we can move him to left field or tell him to go start the year in AAA.
There's a lot of like Christian Campbell making the team out of spring training talk, but none of that for Roman Anthony. Why is that?
The position.
If Willier was traded tonight, that would be what everyone's talking about.
I can't for the life of me understand why they wouldn't both be on the opening day roster given the rules the MLB has laid forth. Bringing up Roman Anthony in May is the dumbest possible idea. So dumb.
Right now, it's just finding a spot for him to play. You need somewhere to play. What are you going to do with Willier? This is where you have to like make a trade. This is where it gets. I'd give him the Jackson Chourio contract, and say, "Hey, go play it opening day." Hey. I do think there's a worry though of 2 rookies in the lineup to start the season.
I have no worry there.
No.
I get both sides of it. I think if you get a bat like Bregman or someone you feel very comfortable in the middle of that lineup,
what happened in 2017?
Different as that year played along. Later in the year, you get Jacoby Ellsbury.
Right, but they still had 2 rookies in the lineup.
Sure. It also, like Dustin Pedroia had that whole first month of struggling, right? We all remember. Then was kind of developed into the rookie of the year by the time Jacoby Ellsbury was ready.
Yeah. And hey, you can figure it out as you go. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have more of a leash for these guys to come up in April and have time to fail and figure it out than call them
say what you will about those guys, but not all situations are the same.
Right.
And they literally, for some reason, were adamant about playing Rafaela all year last year. So I don't know why now they have these rules for better players. It doesn't make any sense.
That literally does not add up. It's like you have a way better situation to do the full year thing. You're like, I don't know. I think we got to sign somebody. Just do one thing, like stick with one mindset that makes sense, and then maybe we'll be like, okay, well, I at least understand. Like diving into both pools. Come on now.
Willier, too, couldn't even get you the fucking award. Like, didn't qualify for the pick because he wasn't on enough top 100 lists. And they were like, yeah, nah, he's our right fielder, no doubt. Like that, I can't understand any of their logic at all. At all.
I think the Ceddanne Rafaela one, they were just so like stuck up on run prevention. And it was like, at that time, Jarren Duran hadn't put together an elite season defensively, but I think the way you see Rafaela at the plate, he needed every day at AAA, and he should have got more. If they told him this year, hey, you're going down to AAA to start, and we want to see you dominate the level again, I'd have no problem with that. If you had made these other moves, you know, we're talking Campbell on the opening day roster and or Roman Anthony. They got down on Abreu quick, though, at the start of last year. It was bad spring training in that first week of the season. It was like, it took a while for him to play himself out of that doghouse.
They don't have plans that they're sticking to. That's my biggest problem.
They also don't let him hit against lefties either.
That's the platoon conversation. And they're like, you know what, son, go ahead.
He's just got to have family members keep dying off. You're like, okay, all right. You can face him.
That's pretty much what happened. Anyways, T. Patrick Sandoval, huh?
Yeah. I listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's the greatest thing ever. 2 years, $18.25 million. If you're talking him versus John Means for me.
We're going to do that, yeah. Why do you keep taking an opportunity?
It's not
when talking about Patrick Sandoval to put down John Means. Why
I'm
do
not
you
putting
do
him
that?
down. But it seems like an either or, did it not? If you're going to sign a guy who needs to rehab from Tommy John,
good Patrick Sandoval is without slandering the good name of John Means.
Okay, if we want to talk about how good Sandoval is, you go back 2 years ago to 2022. It was a 291 ERA, 307 FIP.
Where you already got no, go ahead.
What? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you were saying something?
Go ahead, T.
Go ahead, T. No, but I just look at Patrick Sandoval. He's only 28 years old. He's 2 seasons removed from being at least a mid-rotation starter, if not a little bit better than that. It's an elite changeup, top 5 in zone whiff percentage, top 6 in chase percentage overall, has a good slider. And it's another Andrew Bailey thing where 381 against his 4-seamer last year. Guess what? You're going to throw it less. We should be able to get by with your secondaries and, a lot of weak contact, doesn't give up a lot of homers. To me, like, it's awesome if he can give you something towards the end of the year, but I wouldn't bet on it. But for next year, when you have 2 free agents, and more likely than not in Giolito and Buehler, he'll be another starting option or a piece you can flip in the offseason. And I bet someone will be willing to kind of look at or at least consider. Just seems like smart depth. And when you have money, you should be able to do this and sign the big fish. But I get where Coley's coming from, too, where you look at the money spent between him and Buehler and say you could have afforded Corbin Burnes. I don't think it's about the AAV. I think it's about the years on the contract, but I'm fine with these deals. Sandoval should give you at least, back end of the rotation stuff. And it gives you another left-handed arm when all your depth is right-handed. So that's another guy who could factor into that equation. Priester, Dobbins, Fitz, all these guys throw from the right side.
I like the signing, T.
High energy guy.
Here's what I don't want, right? And I hate even putting this out into the universe, but here's what I don't want. Is I'm not even going to attach a name to it. Let's just say a healthy right now starter for the Red Sox goes down and like another one goes down. And then it's like, well, just wait until Sandoval comes because then he's going to save the season. And we're, if we lose really good pitcher A, well, don't worry about we're not going to make a deal at the deadline because we have Patrick Sandoval coming. That's what I don't want to have play out. That will really upset me. I want him to be a bonus. I don't want to find ourselves in a situation where Sandoval is the savior of the season.
All this points to me is it's telling you that you shouldn't have a Rich Hill moment or anything like that happen again. And that's cool. Avoid those moments. Never go back to those dark places. Patrick Sandoval, at least being a competent MLB starter, cool. For cheap money, it's $9 million each this year and last year. But where it pisses people off, like you did with Paxton,
we're paying him for last year,
huh?
Imagine they're just like, we loved what you did last year. Here's $9 million for that.
Where people get upset though is if you don't end up spending or you're well below the luxury tax and there was a budget.
That was sick what you did with the Angels. So here's
dude, they didn't appreciate you enough. Here's an extra $9.
Yeah.
I hate you guys.
I mean, you said it, T. I was just asking.
You know, this fan base would be so pissed if they gave guys money for what they did on other teams. Just
well, they did it for Sandoval. Like they did it for Pablo Sandoval. They gave him $95 million for what he did.
It's a Sandoval thing.
Giant.
They're like, Sandoval, we got to pay this guy to not play here.
You crushed it 2 years ago. Here's $9 million for that.
Here's 9. Specifically, that's worth 9. I think that's the case. Yeah. I will be curious how a change of scenery will help him when he's actually healthy. But to Jerry's point, if you're going to have one of the players on your team get hurt and we're going to do the update game and in the pregame show, we'll have whoever the hell, if it's Jen McCaffrey, whoever, being like, oh, and he's progressing well and throwing, off the mound, or he's like a month from throwing off the mound. Those to me are fine if it's a guy that was on your opening day roster. Like having those guys pre-baked into your roster drives me nuts. I always hate when it's like, thumbs up. I always hate when it's those kind of dudes that you already know are going to take a while to come back and have any kind of impact on your team. But you kind of knew that this wasn't like a huge deal when Passan didn't even give it the breaking treatment. It was all lowercase, just like the Red Sox have signed Patrick Sandoval, and it's $5 million this year, 12 the next, and do with that what you will. The depth never hurts. And if anything, this furthers the Cutter Crawford point, with Coley getting trenched right now. This furthers the point of like, you want to have more depth, more guys that can fill in for you over the course of the season. So, of course, Sandoval is going to play that role. But ideally, it's next year. And to Jerry's point, not just get ready. He's going to be back. He'll only be here in like a month and a half. We just had that with Hendriks last year. That one again.
I'm guessing Adam Bailey pushed for it, too, because they were together in LA. It was a 387 FIP last year, too. Say what you know about the year.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, FIP.
What was the K per 9? Actually, wasn't that bad, right?
It was around 9. He's not a major strikeout guy, but
ERA was
better than John Means.
ERA was a 5. So we gave him $9 million for that.
Yeah.
9.2.
9.2 million. And then you're talking about K's, but we gave him 9.2 million.
Oh, man, that 5-year ERA was dope, dude. $9 million bucks for that. Yeah.
9.2.
Yeah. 9.2 mil. Yeah. What was that report that I saw about like the plan for Liam Hendriks? Like that they really do just expect him to be the closer?
No, that I saw that aggregation. There was nothing. It was just
you don't get to say aggregation.
You don't get to.
You said that
I
with
did.
a
I
tone.
did say it. If I don't put it out, it should tell you. It should tell you. That's all I'm saying.
Here's the aggregator.
See, you use that word with a certain tone that I don't think you are.
I have a problem when people just pull things out of an article where you read the article and it wouldn't stand out at all if you read the article. Yeah. That's what I have a problem with. Saying, presumably, if they don't sign anyone, Liam Hendriks will be the closer. And that's your thing you're putting out there. If they don't sign anyone. We know they're in on the reliever market. We've heard it 900 times.
The vitriol in your voice towards other aggregators. The aggregator game is crazy these days. I mean, aggregator wars are raging in the streets. And T, you don't want to step on T's turf.
No, damn aggregators.
As long as you go about it and you're putting the right stuff out, I don't like when people just put shit out that isn't news. It's just you read something and
that's like Pablo Sandoval being like, and these fat fucking pieces of shit at McDonald's.
All I'm saying is when I put something out, it's news. It's not just something in the middle of a story that has no meaning.
Yeah, integrity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Tyler, it's like we follow your Twitter. We see what you're posting.
What am I posting that isn't actual news in there?
Again, revisiting a couple episodes ago when you put out a report that you knew was not correct.
I've said this before, T. And quick shout out before I forget to the memes account. Who's crushing it. I don't know who's running this memes account.
I thought it was Jeremy.
It's not Jeremy. No. Whoever's running it is absolutely crushing it.
I don't want to know who it is.
I do want to know as well. And
no, I only mentioned them.
I don't want to know as well. The memes account did mention, like, when Steve anytime says something about T, it's going to be bad. This isn't bad. I need to reiterate, since I've unmuted you, it's been a fun time. Like, I've had a fun time. But then there's always going to be little moments where, like, when it's Christmas Eve, and you're reminding everyone, who started with the most Ks in American League history, who started a game with the most straight Ks. I don't know if that one's necessary. I'd say it's completely unnecessary, but that's the T experience, though. It's going to be like 90% stuff that you're going to benefit from reading, and then probably some things you don't need.
Sometimes he posts like inauthentic shit. Like
I think it's less now than it used to be.
But like he'll post a video and it'll be like
I know exactly what you're going to say. Continue.
It'll be like, let me think.
Like
It'll
a
be
silky
like-
base where
remember,
you play
remember,
for the Red Sox.
remember Adam Stern? He'll post like Adam Stern highlights and be like, man, these were the days. And it's like, A, who cares about Adam Stern? And B, you don't mean that. Like you're just posting a video to post a
All
video.
my Bryce Brent's tweets are very real. I love
Cheddar
Bryce
Bob.
Brent's.
He Cheddar Bobbed himself. Yeah, like we need authenticity. We need authenticity. And
if you can
integrity.
find a non-authentic tweet on my timeline, I'd love to hear
I bet
it.
it'd take me 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
Real tears when Jeter Downs hit that walk-off against the Yankees. Stuff
Oh
like
my
that.
God. Alex Verdugo running around first base. Jeter Downs jumping up. That was magical.
I want to find out which third line is Teed's favorite, because he always starts with like report, some thoughts, and then need this forever, or like
I
so
do. The
down
third
for this.
line is always
Yours,
like,
I'm always down for what's T's third line gonna be. I want to know, because it's always a little bang catch line at the end. Go out.
Tweets are too busy. There's like
There's a lot going on.
there's like spaces, like paragraphs. There's pictures. Then you're tagging people.
It's a lot.
It's-
I'm gonna be keeping
yeah,
an eye out on the best
too-
third lines that you use.
Too busy. It's too
It's always
busy.
feed me this to the pitching factory.
Feed me that. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Need this in my life.
that's my favorite part of the game.
Like I will literally just tweet out like a few sentences. Bang, 2.5 million views. I'm just talking. I'm just talking to the
I mean,
people.
we got to give T. It's a different audience size. You know. I mean, that's
Yeah, but like the audience like was cultivated through just talking to the people, not yapping to the like he yaps. Like I'm just talking.
I notice sometimes when I talk on here, you guys do this thing where it's like clearly, all right, Tyler's been talking and we're zoned out. I feel like my tweets can get like that sometimes too.
Yeah,
see, you got a lot of thoughts.
Yapping,
Too many.
and yapping, and line after line after line, and then
I try to keep it without that.
Shout
more.
shout out to Rafaela's dildo on Instagram for this fucking awful Photoshop.
Wait, I found one. So we got Will Myers ends playing career. This is an MLB trade rumors post, and T quote tweeted it with Will Myers debut. I could never forget that day. Space. Johnny Gomes punting his helmet never gets old. Space. Still one of my favorite games I ever went to. So T looked at a Will Myers career-ending post and I'm like, I gotta get this Johnny Gomes punting his helmet video up right now.
Dude, back in the day when Will Myers debuted, it was like, holy fuck, this guy is going to be a stud for the next 15 years. He's going to hit everything in sight. Don't even think twice about it. I was so excited that I got to see his debut. That was like one of the coolest things in the world for me at that time. He was on the cover of Baseball Prospectus that year. I remember getting my copy and reading through it. I was very excited for that.
That is funny. Good stuff, T.
There's good shit on this timeline, man.
It's very wordy. A lot of your tweets have the show more option.
Yeah,
I'll never tweet something where I go over the character limit. Like you'll never see a show more on my timeline.
I think the top thing for tea time this episode is just trim them so it's not show more. People hate show more.
I hate show more. I hate your spacing. Be more concise. Be more concise. Cut the fat. Be more visually pleasing. The aesthetic is off. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Be more visually pleasing. Be more digestible. I feel like all the fucking advice that I give you, you just ignore, and then other people on Twitter take it, and then they're like they listen and then they implement it, and then they crush it with it, and then
we're just growing all these other aggregators.
Yeah, you're feeding the aggregation army out there.
Can we say that word, or is it only for you people, the aggregators?
We only prefer to use that word. It's very mean when others do.
Yeah.
God.
Listen,
you're doing good, T. You're doing good.
We're trying.
I put out another video this week. Like, I've tried to really.
How long was it? How long was it?
I'm gonna get yelled at for that.
Yeah, it's over. It's like 6 minutes.
No, it's not. It was 3 minutes.
It's pushing 4.
All right. What was it? Over 3 minutes? Yes or no?
It was. Oh, yes, 3 minutes. Yes.
What was the official runtime?
3:31.
Right. So more than 3 minutes.
Closer to 4.
Yeah. Closer to
4
than 3.
Oh,
you can't coach this guy.
He said 4 as if like, what's after 3?
He's like,
you sure?
He's like Albert Hainsworth. It's like, like you're good enough to be in the league, but you are just not coachable at all.
Fat fuck who couldn't get out of his own way at the end of his career.
No, it has nothing to do with his weight. It's just like,
Coley, is that a good
description
of him?
There's talent. You're in the big leagues, but you don't listen. Less busy.
I don't think you're at the end of your career.
There's too much going on. Make it more visually pleasing. Like, look at my timeline, then look at yours. Like, obviously, like my last ones are all retweets from people that got our merch and stuff, but I'm short.
T's still going to be T. We still got to have T be T to a certain degree.
No, I'm trying to. He's good, but he can be great if he would just listen.
I know.
I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom, and you're not taking it.
I'm trying.
That's
all I want to do is take it. That's all I want.
Oh,
is to take the keys.
So then, enough with the 3 lines. No more, show more. If you can't get your point across in, 180 characters, you know how many times that I'll write out something and have to edit it and trim words and, figure out a way to say it so that it doesn't do show more? All the time. But there's nothing in my 15 years on Twitter that I haven't been able to get my point across without trimming it down to be more concise. Be more concise.
All I want to say real quick is that there's a scenario here where we're giving T too much all at once. I think if each T time had one big takeaway of things he should adjust.
Yeah.
I think he'd be like the show more. If you cut out the show more, again, we're just like improving the pitch arsenal as the season goes along here. You cut out the show more.
Spacing.
No, I'm telling you, if we give him like a one homework assignment, I think it's definitely getting
one
cut
thing
out.
to work on every week.
It's show more. Let's
go. Eliminate show more in your tweets.
Am I allowed to do it if it's an aggregation or no?
What?
If it's for like aggregation purposes, like for me personally, I like to have the quote in there so people know what was actually said.
So then take a screenshot of the quote in the article and then include that as the picture, you dumbass.
Okay. In my experience, that has not done as well number wise, but I'm willing to try it.
You dumbass.
Okay. I didn't say that into the microphone. I couldn't not say it, but I didn't say it.
How did you do it? How did you do it?
I didn't do it. So,
dumbass.
If you want, like Stats, I think does it like that sometimes, where he'll
Stats quote.
He'll cut the quote as like a picture, and then you put your commentary in the fucking tweet. And then if you want to be like per fucking whoever.
If you use Stats as an example, Stats says a lot was not saying a lot. There's a lot of times Stats gets his most important points across with a screenshot and no caption.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Buehler signing, he said a lot without saying a lot.
Stats has been on one this offseason.
He just posted a picture of the Stats.
He admitted he was a big fan of Buehler. He just wanted him on multiple years. He didn't want him for one.
Yeah.
Now that was tea time with T.
Thank you, guys. I will
let's see if you're coachable or not. Right now, I'd say no. Because you're even to like the point about the videos, like you're still not concise enough.
Okay.
That's why are you doing tilted head? You're doing long videos, Steve.
I felt like the last couple were good. This one got a little long, I will say.
I'm not saying the videos aren't good. The content of the videos are very good. You're very knowledgeable. You have a camera presence. You explain things. You can talk to people on video where the smart fans know what you're saying, but then casual fans, you also explain it so like they know. Like everyone between diehard and casual, people are following along. That's a strength of yours. But you bore people to tears when you go over 3 minutes.
That's
so
right.
And there's people who aren't even clicking when they see the length of the video.
Yeah, they'll see 6 minutes, 36 seconds and be like, fuck that. Like I can go grocery shopping in that amount of time.
I mean, we do tea time and I'm still skipping through. Like there's a lot of people that skip through.
Yeah. So take the advice. Be more concise.
Oh,
that rhymes. That's good.
That's really good.
And I swear to God, if I see If I see other people, you fucking idiot. If I see other people, if I see other people taking this advice and not you, then I'm going to be pissed.
I will be taking
There's
the advice.
nothing you can do about other people taking the advice that I give to you, but I'm giving you the power. Run the plays. Run the plays. I gave you the playbook. Run the plays.
All I'm saying here, my last 10 tweets, none of them have had the show more.
That's not true. I like scrolled for like 2 seconds and I found like back to back show more.
Jared is kind of referencing the Gerard Mayo line there, where it's like, hey, once they cross these lines, we trained them up. They can only do what they do once they're out there on the field. So this next week on the field, we're going to keep an eye on that show more.
Yeah. Less is more.
Yes.
Never show more.
Right. Yeah. Take a little scroll through my timeline, T.
You're the goal for a reason.
That's a fact. That's Sammy Sosa's tweet. Couple sentences, straight to the point, no show more. Didn't even not and here's another tip for you, T. Not every tweet needs a fucking picture attached.
See, for me,
eyes on it.
I feel yes, exactly. It does way better in the algorithm that way.
Literally, my tweets I don't attach pictures to my tweets, and they're all bangers.
But you exist outside the algorithm. You are bigger than the algorithm.
But that's because I say something, and people are like, "I agree with this," or "This was funny," so I'm gonna like it or share it.
I just always hate the idea of being misconstrued. I hate when people are like, but you didn't mention this point, or you didn't mention this small portion of this conversation.
I don't read the comments. I just do what I think is good, and either you like it or you don't, and I don't care. Your opinion is not my business.
I care too much.
Yeah. Here's my tweet. Like it, hate it. I'm going to be eating these double stuffed Oreo cookies, and you guys can discuss this amongst yourselves. If you like it or not. I'm over here eating double stuff. That's how I go.
Double chunk.
That's how we do. See.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see. We'll see if he listens to this week's advice. That was tea time. Talking with T. Tea time. Jake, how long have we been going for? All day.
We are at 2:55.
All right, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Big sode today. It's the holiday week, and the bonus pod this week, if we haven't already mentioned, is the best of.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to be getting like original commentary. So you figure we'd give you a meatier pod today, as far as the original content goes, because we love you guys. And thank you to everyone who bought Section 10 merch for the holiday season and gifted it or gifted it to themselves. I do that too. I usually go out Christmas shopping and I come back with like 40% of my purchases for myself, but fuck it. Coley, what did you get for Christmas?
It's a great question.
Always like the amount of things I gave for Christmas.
Oh, action figure.
There you go.
Little Christmas Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I
didn't know that Batman was Christian. Catholic.
Well, we can really get into it. Christmas is a pagan holiday at the end of the day that was co-opted by big church to try and get more people in the doors.
Mm-hmm.
So, Batman, he gets down.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you go, T? That is a... which pixel is your present?
Is my connection that bad today?
Terrible.
Right now, it's not good.
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
Yeah. What is that, T?
It's Chainsaw Man. And he transforms. It's a manga or an anime. Very popular one. Almost fully caught up. I have 30 more chapters to go. I've made up about 2 years of reading.
Okay.
But yes, I got that, and I got this Chainsaw Man hoodie.
Coley, should I know? Do you know what Chainsaw Man is? Should I know what that is?
I do from the meme. I don't know it outside of that. I mean, it's a guy with a chainsaw for a face. Like, it'll catch your eye.
It's very gory. I think you'd be into it. It's like
and it's anime.
Yeah. But it's like set for a older audience. It's supposed to be like violent and there's a lot of sexual themes and yada, yada, yada.
Where can you see this?
You could watch it on Hulu has it, I think. Netflix might too. But it's an incredible first season and it has a lot of movie references. Like it's a lot, based on like major American films.
How many episodes are there?
Season 1, I think, was only 12.
Oh, so there's only one season. Because I don't need you signing Jerry up for like a One Piece or anything.
Oh,
like
no,
that.
no. You're not getting 1,000 episodes here.
Is Steve getting the Buzz Lightyear right now?
It's got to be the Lightyear.
Let's go.
Yeah, got the Lightyear. Kind of show you
Let's
guys.
see it.
First off, this is Socks, the cat.
I have a question.
Yep.
Is this Buzz Lightyear like a $400 item that was made in 2024, or it's $400 because it's a unique piece from the 90s?
No, it's expensive. See, here's the tough part. It's the new Lightyear, like from the movie Lightyear last year.
I didn't know
That
they
Buzz
made one.
Lightyear.
Yeah,
No,
Chris
I know.
Evans.
Exactly. It's that Buzz Lightyear. So it's not like the
This
90s.
is not Tim Allen.
It's not Tim Allen. No. But he's legit though.
There's no cocaine in this Buzz Lightyear.
None whatsoever. The helmet on here.
Let's see this.
All right, there he is.
Ooh.
Let's see.
How does it feel in your hand?
Is that not Tim Allen?
No, that's not Tim Allen. This is Lightyear from the Pixar movie Lightyear.
What does it do that makes it worth $400?
It's just a really deluxe toy. Has a bunch of accessories, but to the what does it do question, I don't think anything. I think it just kind of exists as a
Does
very.
it have the laser in the hand?
No. I mean, one could argue that you'd get more entertainment out of the cheaper one that has the laser and to infinity and beyond.
Yeah.
Like you could probably get more
Does
out of
it
that.
talk?
It doesn't talk. I
So
know. I get.
They
But
came
still-
out with a Buzz Lightyear this Christmas season that you can talk to and it talks back and it does all sorts of shit. That's what I thought you were talking about.
But this has crazy detail. It's very cool. There's no doubt.
He
it's
always
cool.
been that tall?
Comes with the pack.
I mean, he's an astronaut. He's going to be.
He always
decent
looks like a
size.
short fella in the movies.
Well, he was a toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Got it from Dan Perrault. There you go.
There you go. It's pretty sweet. Jake, what did you get for Christmas?
Santa brought me 500 cash, which always plays.
Oh, hell yeah.
Jerry.
My parents and my sister got me sneakers, which I need more of those. D-Train got me a cold plunge.
Oh. Have you tried it yet?
Not yet. No, busy day yesterday, but
Can you walk me through, like, do you have to ice that thing down every time you use it? How does that part work? It
Great
seems
question.
like a logistical nightmare.
yep, I'm sure it is. Yep, great question. I don't know.
Did you tell her you wanted to get into this? Is that how it started?
Yeah, so I there's a bathroom in the gym downstairs that no one uses. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take the sink and the toilet and the shower out and put in like a sauna and a cold tub. And she's like, well, why don't you get like one of those like portable ones to see if you
Yeah,
even
trash
like
cans.
you've never done it before. Like, what if you hate it? Like, you're just going to put this fucking metal tub in the house and like, you're just never going to use it. Like, that's just a waste of money. I was like, yeah, I guess. But, and then she ended up getting the cold plunge that we're going to put on like the deck outside. But yeah, that was cool. Me and my dad basically just had the same idea without telling each other. It was very funny. Like, I got him a Pink Floyd concert poster from a show that he went to, and then he also got me a Pink Floyd concert poster. And then I bought him like a bunch of Pink Floyd hoodies, and he got me a bunch of Pink Floyd t-shirts. So that was pretty sweet. One of D-Train's relatives got me a baseball that has the picture from Section 10 night with me and the girls on it, like laser engraved into it.
That's sick.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I got some cool shit. Yeah. Yep.
I got asked if you were given a very specific type of present to D-Train. And I said, probably not. If anything, that feels like a Halloween move for Jared.
Yeah. Or like a Friday the 13th.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd be a Christmas Eve kind of guy.
No, because that's also like it's too cliche.
Way too.
Yeah. Like I would do it on like David Ortiz's birthday. Which is her birthday. Okay, so I wouldn't do that actually. Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
No,
by the way,
why would you make her day like that?
Not like not like Boston Strong. David Ortiz actually did text me on Christmas. He said, "Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year, gangsta. You are the best." And that might have been the best Christmas gift of all. Of getting a Feliz Navidad from Poppy.
That's pretty official.
That is right up there with maybe one of the greatest Christmas gifts of all time. Yeah. All right. Do we have anything else? I know T's dying to break down this Mickey Gasper trade. I know that much, but I don't know that we really need a ton.
I'll save it for my final thought. I don't want to upset anyone.
Well, aren't we there? We're there. Right?
Oh, or we're doing final thoughts?
There. Yeah, we're there, T. Yeah. Get those get your Mickey Gasper and Cam Boozer trade takes out here.
Please
Thank you.
Them together
Thank you.
Quick as you can.
I will go as fast as I can here. Set the timer. No, I was just surprised that they got anything of value for Mickey Gasper, trying to clear a 40-man spot for Walker Buehler, right? But you get Giovanni Moran, who was with the Twins, wasn't on their 40-man. Re-signed on a minor league deal, had Tommy John this past year as he rehabbed, but it's a 4.15 ERA, 286 FIP, and 91 big league innings between 2021 and 2023. Even if you go to 2023, it was a 5.31 ERA and 3.82 FIP. He was nasty all 2022 and about 40 innings, but elite whiff percentage of 37% in 2023. That kind of plays into everything they're chasing. The same with the Austin Adams stuff in the Oakland A's, signing him on a minor league deal. And then real quick on the Cam Boozer trade, which opened up a spot for Patrick Sandoval. The arm they got in return, I'm at 40 seconds here. Yokir Fajardo. I want to hear Coley pronounce this at some point, but he was an all-star down in the DSL this past year, entering his age 18 season, signed for $400K with the White Sox, has a fastball that gets up to 95. You know, kind of the arm you can shape a little bit down there. Seems good for the pitching infrastructure. But yeah, that's what I got on those two.
Oh,
wow.
Pretty good.
Bang!
That was a minute.
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Coley, any final thoughts today?
I was thrilled when I saw the name of the player that came back in the Cam Boozer trade.
I was just like Coley. I was like immediately all I thought of.
Big Yoink is
Yoink. How do you pronounce that? Yoiker?
I look for video everywhere. There's none. He's pitching down in the DSL. Nobody's watching.
Yoiker Fajardo.
All-time name. Shout out. There was a show who called that deal.
Oh, it is
deal to call.
Jake O'Donnell, Derek McGuire, their minor league podcast, which is very good. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no, we want to give you time to shout out.
Tyler's like shouting out another show. This is my favorite thing ever. Give me time.
No,
but
those
that's
guys
an unbelievable call. I do want to give credit. Like calling certain things impressive, calling the return of a potential Cam Boozer trade before it happens is unbelievable.
Jake O'Donnell, Hunter Knoll, who we shout out all the time, and Derek McGuire. It's all under Pesky Report.
Shout out Hunter Knoll.
Go.
He broke the deal.
This trade, or did he break the Gasper trade?
He broke the Gasper trade. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out guys breaking deals. Always love to see. I mean, the Buehler deal came in from someone not more like it.
Former Cubs writer. He's is it Jack? What's his name? I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Yeah, no, but it was like it came from a source that I didn't expect. So I was like, did this actually happen? Like a couple minute or two to wait to
MLB
get,
Yahoo.
Yeah, someone else to break it. So that's always an interesting wrinkle. Not believing things until it actually happens from the people we trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out the Yoinkster.
Big yoink.
11K per 9.
Wow.
It did not walk many guys either.
Yeah. What was the FIP?
It was low. Actually, I do have it in front of
This
me.
is like your favorite guy.
Yeah, sub 3.
Actually, I do not have it in my doc.
No
but it was
joke.
really good.
After trading Portez at the deadline, getting a guy like this back is something I like.
It's just you have the ability to miss bats, and they said, he's at 95 right now. He's 6'3", 180. He's not like some small fry or anything like that, so it should continue to go up.
Yeah, he's not a little bitch or anything.
Yeah, dominate those twerps.
Yeah. Steve, final thoughts?
Yeah, I got 2. One on the Coke bottles. This came in from Justin. I totally agree with you on the Coke bottles, but I would work in sales. I gotta start that. I've already botched this.
Yeah,
twice.
what the fuck are you doing, dude?
That was terrible. I can't read right now. This comes in.
I believe in you.
You gotta be fast with these final thoughts, Steve. No one just sits here and takes an hour.
I know. It's not like it's just a DM segment. I totally agree with you on the Coke bottles, but I work in sales for the Cardinals AAA affiliate. We also have a deal with Coke, and I can probably shed some light on what probably happened. Every sponsorship asset has a dollar amount attached to it. Coke pays teams to keep their product exclusively in arenas and stadiums, and usually they'll add digital or static signage as well into their deals. My guess is their contract was up after the 08 season. The Red Sox were jacking up their signage pricing, and Coke bottles wouldn't have fallen under that signage agreement. So they didn't renew that asset while still paying to keep their product at Fenway Park. So all said, we need to pressure Coke to bring the Coke bottles back and the Red Sox to lower their rate to bring this. So basically, there are a couple typos in there, so it wasn't fully my fault. But I get what Justin's saying there, where there's a good chance the deal that Coca-Cola has with Fenway Park would have been even way larger if they had to do the Coke bottles as well. So instead, they just did the signage over like the third base upper level seats, whatever the hell those are called.
The Coca-Cola.
But if you're going to have that huge Coca-Cola sign, I just want to know the difference. Like, what's the difference between that and the Coca-Cola bottles over the Monster price-wise? Because if that's the difference and they're not paying that, I find that even more annoying than whatever other reason could be for why the Coke bottles aren't here anymore.
I bet I could get that answer.
I blame the team, not Coke. Like if that was such an iconic.
I'm talking about the team. Like, if the difference isn't that much, like, why do we need the cursive Coca-Cola in the corner of the park? No, give me the bottles. Like, I'd way rather the bottles by the Monster. So shout out to Justin. Any other Coke bottles updates I get throughout the year? Obviously, only a week left in this one. Throughout 2025, I will let you guys know because I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. And last final thought, real quick, guys. I know this is taking some time. The Brian Bayo pick was hilarious. What he shared on his Instagram story on Christmas was just I got a laugh. I love that he kept it up there, and it's just an all-time photo that I now have to think either way, if he's good or bad this year, that photo will continue to resurface. So shout out to Brian Bayo for being in love and showing it.
Do we know he's in love, or
that looked like he was in love? He was in love with something there.
Yeah,
they have kids together.
Oh yeah, that was big in love. Yeah, he's big.
That was the best part. The day before he posted the whole, I thought the funniest picture he posted the last 48 hours. He did like the whole family photo shoot where you get nice and dressed up. Mm-hmm. Everyone does it, but he had solo photos taken, and he ends it with just pictures of himself. Like that's why will always be my guy. Like that's such a power move to be like, hey, here's the family, here's the fucking money maker, here's BB.
I mean, also talk about the range.
Here's the guy who pays the fucking bills around here.
It's some incredible range to do the family photo pics, put those up there, they look great, and then Instagram story, boom, cans in my face, and I'm sucking on them like that. That is.
Other people in the pool too, like they weren't in the private pool, like different family entirely.
So they're used to seeing this. This is like a common occurrence for private.
Yeah,
incredible stuff. I loved it.
That's my goat.
It's exactly what Christmas is all about.
Yep, honks.
That's what Charlie Brown was talking about.
Titties?
The true meaning of Christmas.
Some yoinkers.
Mm-hmm. Some absolute hammered yackers. Yeah. Yeah. That's always been what Christmas is about. Jake's takes?
I texted Corey for the episode title like 20 minutes into the show, which was before I knew Dan was coming on, which obviously changed everything. And I just said, can you do featuring Dan Perrault for today's episode? And he goes, anything for that guy.
An absolute legend.
Anything for that guy.
Like, that's the least I could do. Put his name in the title. I'll do way more.
Yeah. I'll go to T.
You guys are judging me, but you're going to be happy when I say this. I just wanted to shout out Lou Merlone, who's going to be calling more than half the games for Nesson this year.
Can I maybe I could have a final thought.
Oh, you weren't going to say that, so don't act like you were going to.
No, maybe I could have a final thought. Well,
no. You were so happy when I
turn.
started saying it. I'm just saying. Go ahead. Go ahead, J-Dog.
Shout out to Lou Merlone and Will Fleming, our guys. Will Fleming.
That's a great point, Jared.
Back on a brand new deal to be the radio voice of the Boston Red Sox. Lou Merlone doing a shit ton more games. It seems like the Red Sox like actually did kind of treat the last couple of years here like a tryout to be like, who do we like the most? And like, I mean, if you would ask me whatever at the start of that, like who's going to win this competition, I'd be like, well, obviously it's going to be Lou. He's the most polished. He's the most knowledgeable. He's the most passionate. He cares the most, I feel. That's no knock on the other guys, but it's like, you know, it's one thing to be a former player, but it's another to be a former player from here, which Lou has that leg up on everyone else that was doing this. So, I mean, I still hope that we see the other guys that have been doing it. It sounds like that's going to be the case where it's not like Lou is going to do all 162. He's going to do more, which is a good thing. But yeah, like it's very hard to match Lou's passion. I don't know that it's possible to exceed it. It's pretty difficult to match it. So
you can't check all the boxes he checks. Nobody can.
Yeah, the experience, the years, the former
He's
player
been here the whole time.
Yeah. Yep. So
real quick. Millar, is there a Millar update? T, was there a?
No, nothing on him, and Uke as well, saying that his contract ended and there's no idea if he'll be involved in any capacity. We're still going to get a lot of Will Middlebrooks, seems TV and radio, but it looks like the new up-and-comers they're excited about, JBJ and Rich Hill.
Nice.
Well, Rich Hill's going to end up signing with the team at the deadline. But,
exactly.
I was going to say,
Jackie's
I don't even like that he's that close. I don't.
God.
Yeah. Jackie, I think, is going to be great at this. He might be a little timid at first because anytime you get a guy doing it for the first time and there's still players in the league that they played with, they are a little bit like, do I want to really criticize this guy or make a comment about this? But I think over time we will find that Jackie is going to have some really intelligent things to say about topics that are intriguing to the fans.
I was surprised to see JBJ's name just because I think he's going to be good. He's also very soft spoken. So that and then announcing don't necessarily blend too well, but super knowledgeable and obviously
I took it as like pre and post versus like booth.
Oh, so he's not doing games.
So he's doing pre and post?
We don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't really defined. It was more they're going to do work on the radio and TV side in some capacity.
I think he can fit in that. I mean, I'm stunned that we don't get more Brock Holt for this. It's good for us because then we get like the freshest version of Brock whenever we call him up or just day of like, hey, can you hop on the show?
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of always thought that Holt would be that our guy Brock would be doing more of this.
Yeah.
No Devin Marrero either.
Swaggy D.
What do you mean no Devin Marrero?
I don't know. I thought, he was someone they were trying out down the stretch last year. I thought maybe we'd see more of him pre and post.
So he's not coming back at all?
There was just no mention of him. No update one way or the other.
Interesting. They mentioned me at all or no?
No.
Oh.
No Jared Carrabba's coming back.
Damn.
Can't have it.
Damn. It's a tough way to find out.
The opposing team performing too well when he was in the booth.
I feel like he's on a hot streak.
Unobstructed Views had a winning record.
True.
Somehow.
What was it though? Like 1 over 500? It was probably
they lost. They lost like the last 3. It was basically like when the season went to shit.
Unobstructed Views followed the same path as the Red Sox season, I think, in terms of record.
Yeah.
Our last great moment was the Kenley KC moment.
Yeah. And I think we started when the Red Sox season took the turn. So like it was Miami. That Phillies series was when we did. I believe it was a test show. I don't think it was the first live one, but I think the first test show we did was during that Phillies series where the Red Sox took 2 out of 3 right before they took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. And
first one you did with Pat, Sox got smoked, and then after that started stacking up some W's.
Mm-hmm. They were all Bayo starts. So
every Bayo start.
It was, Bayo got rocked. Pap was like, this is the worst player I've ever seen. And then he kept coming back and being largely fine because they kept winning the games. And it was still just like, if this guy doesn't fucking get it together. Mm-hmm. And that was when Tyler, after he went like 7 perfect against the Royals, was like, he's just really going to close these games out better. I can't fucking stand the way he ends these games.
It's like 2 outs, 2 strikes. I don't think
he's got to finish the job.
This guy blows.
Unbelievable.
No bigger Bayo hater than Tyler Milligan.
Get the hell out of here.
I'll tell you that right now.
Bayo is not bothered. He is playing with honks on Christmas. Fun time, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to honks.
Jake, book a nice meaty pair of honkers for this episode.
Yeah, Jake, let's get some honks up in here. When is the best of 2024 episode scheduled to drop, Jake?
I believe on Sunday.
Sunday. All right. So we'll be back. When?
In the
next
New Year.
Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday. We're back in the New Year.
What fucking day is it? Thursday. New Year's Day is Wednesday. So maybe, yeah. So probably.
The second, probably. Jan 2.
Yeah, Jan 2. We'll be back Jan 2. Mm-hmm. All right, everyone. Thanks for all the love this year. Hope you enjoyed the best of episode dropping on Sunday. We appreciate you guys. 2025 be a big year for the 10. New merch, live shows. The Red Sox will actually be good. More at Fenway content. More interviews, more of the things that you want, less of the things that you don't. And we're very excited to bring that all to you. First year of Section 10, the return at Underdog. Thank you to Underdog for making all this happen for us. Very excited for what the future has in store for this particular program. We'll see you in 2025. Ba-doop, doop, doop.
Buenas noches, amigos.